Good morning, Raptor freaks. Lexi Odds here. It is Wednesday morning, and it's a Wow Wednesday, and I'm wow, and I'm in wowing in a really happy way because something that I predicted months and months and months ago finally came true yesterday, and I'm very happy to see it. In fact, it makes me have some ammunition for haters and people that are so jaded about the Raptors and think, oh, this, what are they doing? They're stupid. Well, nobody wants to come there. Nobody wants to be there. No, none of this, none of that. And I'm like, well, look what happened. In the middle of the season, everybody said for sure Fred and Gary will opt out and they will go and test the free agency market. And Gary will be a Laker and Fred will be an Orlando Magic, all kinds of bullshit said all season long, all kinds of different ways about this subject. And I said, well, don't be surprised if at least one of them opts in and takes the money on their contract and doesn't opt out. Well, I was right, proven yesterday by Gary Trent Jr. opting into his option with the Raptors for next year, 18.5 million paid to Gary. He is not a free agent. He is not going to the Lakers. He is not going all over anywhere, and there will be no more speculation about Mr. Gary Trent Jr. because he has made his decision, and his decision is to play for the Toronto Raptors. And I love that so much. I mean, there's so many different things that are making people's heads explode right now. Lakers Nation really did want him. Seriously, they were talking all about Gary this, Gary that. And they say, well, he's a loser for wanting to stay in Toronto. Well, fuck y'all. Y'all don't know what's going on here. Gary knows this city's a badass city, and he loves this city. Seriously, he loves being a Toronto Raptor, and he has wanted to be here for a long time, and he's here to stay. In fact, this is the thing. They broke the news of this through KLUTCH. This wasn't the Raptors who broke the news of Gary opting in. This was KLUTCH contacting Chris B. Haynes and giving him the information. And this is how he stated it. He said Gary Trent Jr. wants to be in the Raptors for long term and that he will try and work out an extension with Bobby and Masai right after this at some point during this season. In fact, they're saying that in July, early July, he will be eligible to sign a contract where he can get paid way, way more if he wants to. And that may be what we're doing. I'm not totally sure how we're going to handle this, but Gary's in the fold and he is going to be a Raptor next season no matter what. That is one thing we do know for sure, unless they turn around and trade him. But I doubt they'll do that. This is a player that we need on our team because he very much is something we don't have a lot of on our team right now. And we need to make sure we keep him around. Well, he wasn't lying when he was in that underpass at the Buckets event, KFC Buckets event at the end of the season, saying, I love Toronto. I love it here. I want to be here, even though it was a cold day under an underpass in the greater Toronto area when he said that. I believe these guys when they say these kind of things. Gary loves Toronto, and people needed to hear that when he says it. Goes in the ear, goes in the brain. You hear it, computing in your brain. Hello, NBA, ESPN heads. You got to listen to the people and they will tell you what's up. They will tell you straight up what's up. Gary has a legacy with the Raptors. His father played for the Raptors. As I said before, I'm going to sound a little bit like a broken record. When he was a little kid, he came to Toronto and he saw what it was like. And it was amazing to him. He probably fell in love with it then when he was a child. And he came to this city and he was like, this city is cool as hell. And he's like, you know what? I want to play for this city someday. So this could have been a dream of his since he was a child to play for the Toronto Raptors, just like Ken Burch had a dream to play for the Raptors. Jamal Murray probably has the same dream, just so y'all know, to play for the Raptors someday. I'm just saying, quit discounting the Raptors. This kind of news goes against all the NBA narratives, and nobody wants to play in Toronto. Nobody wants to be there. What are they doing? This doesn't make sense what they're doing. Well, you just go ahead and keep ignoring what we're telling y'all what we're doing. We're running it back. We're taking our core with a new coach and trying it again this season. And yeah, if y'all don't understand it, well, you don't have to, because we're going to just do it anyway, and we're going to kick some butt while we're doing it. So you go Gary Trent Jr., a real one, a real Raptor. Opted in Raptor as of yesterday. And the great thing about this is we're not going to have to hear his name all over Twitter in stupid ass ways for the next couple months because it's just cut and dry and done. He is opted in with the Raptors. He is a Raptor next season. So yeah, you hold your tongue, Lakers Nation on Twitter. You can go ahead and go crazy talking all this trash, but it won't be about Gary Trent Jr. And I love that so much. You go, Gary. You go, Gary. That's right. It won't be about Gary Trent Jr. We won't have to hear his name dragged through the mud and all that bullshit like Pascal and OG and all them. All right, Dana's first in. Once again, Dana, good morning, everyone. And I posted it early so Dana could come in. Dana was that first stop. And yesterday, it was the trivia, so it was like 5 minutes before. But good morning to you, Dana, at 8:30. Good to see you. Cowboys here. Good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Bam. Let's go. Another piece of the puzzle. So glad Scary Gary is staying. Let's go. Yes, very essential. Very important. In some ways, Gary kind of has us in a weak spot. And thank God he's not somebody who hates the Raptors and wants to mess us up by taking off. He very much does care and love about this team. And he is excited, I'm sure, about the possibilities with Coach Darko leading the team and what may be possible for him. In some ways, we've talked about this. Him opting out and testing the free agency market right now may be a little bit more risky because of the season he had this year. You know, his season was really good at times. There was a middle part where he was on fire and he scored like 30-point games in a row, which he can do. But there were also parts of the season where he got benched. He was hurt at the end of the season. It wasn't that this season was like a stellar kind of season to launch you into free agency to really get a big bag. So in some ways, he may be reading it that way with Clutch and saying, you know what, let's stay on this. But, you know, if I do really well this year under Darko in the middle of the season, they could make a big extension for me and I could get a lot of money then. So it's really kind of smart and it really helps us, honestly. In some ways, also, you guys got to understand these players are working with Masai and Bobby. They're not against them. They really are kind of all on the same team, like they should be. We're the Raptors. And well, they kind of talk to each other and they say, well, listen, we're going to do this. We got to have this money for Pascal. We got this money for Scotty. You know, we're going to try and keep Fred. You know, we're going to have this amount of money. Hurdle, you can get this. Gary can do this. And it's all one big puzzle piece. Puzzles, all pieces all in there fit. And as Mike and Greg have talked about on their content recently, that the Raptors actually do have the ability to keep everyone. There's been a myth that we can't keep everyone. We can't possibly pay for everyone this summer. That is absolute bullshit because of bird rights and luxury tax. That's the thing. But because we're using our own guys that we draft, our own people that we've kept around, we have the ability to spend over what we've been spending to keep our guys. So there's a lot of myths out there. There's a lot of misconceptions that people in Raptors Nation may have. It's like, well, we can't possibly keep Fred, Gary, Jakob, all of them. Well, yeah, we can actually. We damn right we can. And some of it is like Logical Raptors Fanatic has explained. There's a little bit of a way of setting up the contracts where they get paid the most at the beginning, and then it tapers off as they go into their years, so they get less and less. Like Chris Boucher's contract that he's on right now. His first year of this contract, he got the big dump of most of the money, but he won't get as much money each year after. And the way you do that with the tapering off of the money amount into the future is makes it more fittable for stuff later on. It makes sense if you think about it. So there's a little bit of that going on. And then also, as Mike has explained before, there's a little bit of an alternating year kind of thing where it may be player A gets paid a lot this year, but not as much next year, whereas player B gets paid a lot this year and they get paid less next year. So it's like they alternate who gets paid more every other year. So there's a lot of really intricate, interesting things that the Bobby Webster and the Raptors front office are doing with our salary cap and our pay to make it all fit, y'all. Whether it's tapering contracts to go smaller as they go into the future, or like alternating who gets paid more money on each year. They are figuring all this out. And all you armchair GMs at home with your trade machine on ESPN, you ain't thinking about any of that junk. So don't even get in there and act like you know what you're talking about when you get your trade machine revved up. You don't even think about tapered contracts or alternating contracts between players. Nah, y'all aren't even thinking about that. See, y'all are on little mini elementary preschool level. These motherfuckers are a PhD level in graduate school when it comes to GM. And so you go ahead and play your little kindergarten games on your computer with your trade machine. Idiots. You have no idea what all it takes to be a GM in the NBA today. That's right. Yeah, there we go. Bang, bam, 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 bam. Evelyn is here. Good to see Granny Evelyn. Always good to see Evelyn. We love Evelyn. And thank you for the footage of baby Candace the other day. Fantastic to see baby Candace growing up healthy and strong and such a diehard Raptor fan. I know she is. Evelyn saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. It's a beautiful day. Hoping to hear positive views today. Bradley and Dana, see you on July the 15th. Ciao. Ciao. Yes, Evelyn is alluding to the Raptor Freak meet and greet get together on July the 15th at Real Sports Bar and Grill next to the Scotiabank Arena, 3 p.m. Saturday, July the 15th. If you'd like to come and meet me, Monique, the superfan, Lawrence, the Saborans, and everybody else, Granny Evelyn, come on down and you can meet the people in the chat that we're here. We're going to be getting together for our annual get together July the 15th, Real Sports Bar and Grill, 3 p.m., baby. That's right. Thank you, Evelyn, for being here. Trevor's here. Good to see Trevor in the morning. Good morning, everyone. We got our boy back. Shout out to Gary, as we called him G Money. He really loves it here in the city. He really does. It's almost like if Gary was a city, he would be Toronto. It's such a cool thing. And like, seriously, he really does love this city. It may be the food that saved us. I know that he loves that Thai food here in Toronto. It could very well be the food. It could be just everything about the whole kit and caboodle of the city of Toronto. And it's just where he wants to be. And thank you. You know, that whole year when people were talking about bring Gary home, they were talking about Toronto. They weren't talking about Minnesota. They weren't talking about the state of Ohio. They were talking about the city of Toronto. That's what Jordan Bolton knew when he said that. And he even's been saying a couple of really cryptic tweets lately from Jordan Bolton saying like the Raps ops have slid and stuff like that. You've slid. You're not going to get him. And he was kind of giving us the clues that this was going to happen, that he was going to opt in and stay with Toronto. And I love it. Jordan, you've made it very confusing in the days to come. But in some ways, your tweets make more sense now with Gary's decision yesterday. Good stuff. Good stuff. Cowboys saying, I'll see y'all in at the parade. Can't wait for tomorrow and for the season to start. Let's go, Darko. That's right. The draft is tomorrow, y'all. Ooh, it's so soon. I can't wait. I'm really excited about the 13th pick for the Raptors. They've made it very, very clear what they're going to do. They had a press conference yesterday with Dan Tolzman, assistant GM Dan Tolzman for the Toronto Raptors, showing up and answering questions. And very interesting choice to have him come and answer the questions. You know, when he shows up, it can be kind of mundane and a little boring. Not going to lie. The guy's not the most exciting interview from the Raptors front office. You know, I would say Masai's number one, just because of his charisma, just because of who he is, and just, you know, Masai's going to say something fun. Bobby's probably second because he does got a little bit of charisma too, but he's very matter of fact, and he can be kind of a clam on certain things, but he will elaborate on some things. And then Dan, he's just kind of boring, man. Like, he's very nuts and bolts, matter of fact. And that's why they chose him yesterday. In fact, some people may wonder, why did Dan Tolzman do the press conference yesterday and not Bobby Webster? Well, there's a couple of reasons why. And I'm going to tell you right now, Fred VanVleet is a big reason why. Because, you know, Dan could come into that interview and say, look, I'm only concentrating on the draft. I am not involved in the talks with Fred VanVleet about his contract, so I cannot talk about the subject with you at all. And that's probably true. You know, people think, what are these guys doing in the front office? Why do you have to have so many different people? Well, there's a lot of work to be done, especially this time of year, free agency, the draft, all kinds of different things. So Bobby is involved with talking to Fred and KLUTCH about that contract situation where Dan Tolzman is not. So if you don't want to answer those questions about Fred, send Dan Tolzman to the press conference because he can play. I'm not involved in this. I'm not involved in the Fred. So I will not be answering any questions about Fred VanVleet. Thank you. Thank you. I'm not involved. I'm just involved in the draft. And it's such a good, smart decision by the front office to put that in there, put him out there instead. Now, some people will say, well, why wouldn't Bobby come talk? We want to hear from Bobby. We miss Bobby. We want to hear Bobby. Well, let Dan have his shine. In some ways, we want to get his face out there so that he can become like a coach or a player, a developing kind of person that gets more known and may become valuable down the road as far as maybe people will want him or he gets a better job or he's more visible. So it's smart to put Dan Tolzman on TV in the way that they did yesterday. As I said, not the most interesting interviewer, but in some ways, we just need the nuts and bolts kind of just the facts kind of guy for this kind of interview about the draft. He did a really good job, kept it very, very matter of fact, and just said, well, we're going to try and draft the best talented player at 13 when we do. We're not really interested in moving around, but we will listen. The phone is on. And if people are going to call us on the draft day and give us something that's too good to pass up, we'll take it. But otherwise, we're pretty comfortable being just at 13, just picking the 13th pick and going about our business. So really, really smart having Dan do this interview yesterday. He had a crazy shirt on, some crazy patterns on it. Really, really kind of cool shirt. But yeah, interesting stuff from him. And of course, very dry interview. Listen, you go watch it. It's 20 minutes and you will be kind of like, this is boring. It's just how it is. And in some ways, that's a good thing that he came out and did the boring interview yesterday. But he did say quite a few interesting things about what they're doing with the draft and how they look at it and stuff like that. So if you guys want to, if there's anything from the Dan Tolzman press conference you want to talk about a little bit more that I kind of gloss over just now, bring it up and we'll go more in detail on it. All right, let's keep going. Yes, yes, and yes. All right, let's see. Cowboys saying, I hope so, Granny Evelyn. That bam. Yeah, hopefully Bradley and Granny Evelyn will be at the get together on July the 15th. Tom Duke is here. Congrats to our front office on convincing Gary to stay. I don't think they had to do a whole lot of that. Seriously, I don't think they had to. You know, in some ways, if you really break it down, Senior is going to be telling them, you know, Toronto's the best place for you in some ways, Gary. You could go somewhere else and you get jerked around. So far, you've been here, you've been treated really well. In fact, your value has skyrocketed since you showed up in Toronto, Gary. Think about it this way. You were not considered a defensive player when you first showed up. That's right, Dad. I wasn't. Yeah, you've become a defensive player now, and you're considered a two-way player now because of Toronto and their development. You know what else, Gary? What's that, Dad? I can see that now you're a more capable scorer all around. Maybe they thought you were just a shooter, but now they see you can go to the basket and you can score from anywhere on the offensive end. You're now more known as a scorer than just a shooter. And that is partly because of your time here in Toronto also. So your value's gone up on that also. Wow, Dad, you're right. You're right. So it's like, listen, why do you want to leave? You just keep going because they're going to continue to use you in the right way. And you're going to get your value up more and more as you're here in Toronto. And obviously they need you here, son, because they need more shooters like you. So you're very valued. You will get to play and you will get the shine because they don't have enough of what you have on this team. Wow, Dad, that makes all the sense in the world. And I love the food here too. Well, that's good, Gary. That's a great thing for you to, a reason why for you to be here. And I think that it's smart for you to stay here. I'm sure Gary Trent Sr. very much advises Gary Trent Jr. to not cut ties with Toronto because they understand just how smart Masai is. They understand just how good we're developing him. And he knows that he's getting better and better. And he's going to make more and more money. He'd go to any other team. He could have stayed in Portland and he could have stagnated there and he wouldn't be worth the money he's worth right now. So in some ways, Gary really does understand that the hand that fed him and got him to this place is the Toronto Raptors organization. So there's loyalty in that, but I think he already had loyalty for our team in the first place. Seriously, I really do believe this dude looked at Toronto as some sort of like Emerald City, just like in the Wizard of Oz. It's just like this city is an amazing place. And if you make it here and I'm a player here and I'm doing this here, well, this is badass. Much better than Oklahoma City, much better than a lot of other NBA cities you could be in, Gary. He knows that. So you go, Gary Trent Jr. I love it so much. I'm so happy about it, Tom. And I don't know how much they had to convince him. I'm sure that Gary Trent Sr. and Jr. thought about it and they're like, my best bet is to be here in Toronto. And you know, the thing about the opting in is smart. Because in some ways, it's the NBA is changing with the CBA. And in some ways, Gary knows that maybe the money is going to be better later on than trying to do something right now. So there's a lot of good reasons for him to opt in, seriously. And they're smart to do it, seriously. A lot of people may have been struck by that yesterday. It's like, what is Gary doing? Toronto's going to be a dumpster fire. Toronto's not going to be very good. Well, this is one of the things that the rest of the NBA needs to notice is the signals of what's happening with our players. And when Jakob Poeltl resigns with us after his statement this week, everybody's going to be like, well, wait, didn't he just say he doesn't want to be on a rebuilding team? No, they're sending y'all statements, y'all. The Gary Trent Jr. knows this is a good team. That's why he opted in, because he believes in the Raptors. He believes in this core. And when Jakob Poeltl signs that contract for $20 million a year back with Toronto after he said he didn't want to be on a rebuilding team, well, you figure out the logic, NBA, and understand the message that these guys are sending y'all about how they feel about the team that they're on right now. It doesn't line up with how you look at it and your perception of how good they are, does it? Because if Jakob says he doesn't want to be on a rebuilding team and then he re-signs with Toronto, does that logically make sense? Yeah, it does to me, because I know our team's not rebuilding. I know our team's not mid, and I know our team is going to perform at a high level and is going to compete at a very, very high level. And that's the thing that Jakob knows, and that's the thing that Gary knows, and that's the thing that I know. And that may be the difference between what some of y'all don't know out there in ESPN land down south, and even some of our reporters that cover the Raptors here in Canada. They don't even get it either. Well, y'all may be catching on a little later, but Gary, Jakob, and I, we understand what's going on here. Yeah, it's not a rebuild. We're here to contend. We got a new coach, and we're ready to kick some motherfucking ass, is what I'm saying right now. That's right. Yeah, let's go. Cool Cat is in the house. Good morning, Raptor Free crew. Gary Trent Jr. opts in. He loves Toronto, and he knows the green is not always greener on the other side. He is young. He can develop some more and earn that $18.5 million. His Raptors dad advised him. I'm for sure. I know Gary Trent Sr. is a very big factor in talking to Gary about, what's wise for him. I mean, the knowledge that Gary Trent Sr. has from his own NBA career and mistakes that he made, he's not going to let his son make the same mistakes. And so he knows it's a mistake to leave Toronto in the situation the way that it is right now. And, he could go to the Lakers and it would be a dumpster fire. And he could really hurt his career going around LeBron and the Lakers. So in some ways, he knows something's good here. It ain't broke. Don't fix it. Stick here in Toronto and continue to go in the right direction. Maybe the worst thing about Toronto was playing for Nick Nurse. Well, that's gone. And in some ways, Gary will be like, well, Nick's gone now. He's going to jerk me around. Maybe Darko will use me in a very consistent way that allows me to feel pretty good about things instead of, going in and out of the starting lineup. Maybe Darko will be straight up with me. This is your role, Gary. This is what you're going to be doing this year. And I will know what to expect instead of what I was getting from Nick last year. That could be part of the factor. And like him opting in was, well, Nick's gone now. And he was really kind of the main problem I had on this team, honestly. So, yeah, there's a lot of things there. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam. So happy Gary Trent Jr., our bucket getter, is staying with us and aims for that long-term agreement. Take that, Laker Nation. Bam. Yes, Fiercely Salsa. They really did thirst for him. They all really thought he would come and join them and wear the purple and gold with LeBron. Well, it ain't happening. In fact, he is gone. Not only just I'm opting in, I want to stay in Toronto long-term. He very much said that and made it explicit. This is when I like Clutch. When they listen to their clients and they do what they want them to do. Well, listen to Fred and do what they want him to do, what he wants y'all to help him do also, Rich Paul, all right? If Fred says he wants to stay in Toronto for a little bit less money, you do that because he's your client and he's your boss. And if he says, I want to stay in Toronto for $2 million less over Orlando or Houston, well, you get him set up with Bobby in that contract and he stays in Toronto. So that's the thing. Gary, very much, he has that representation of Clutch, but that doesn't mean he's a Clutch client coming to join so many other Clutch clients in LA because he values being in Toronto. That's right. Naco the Nacho is in the house. Gerald Mayhew is in the house. He's got a show on the 26th at DuPont. Y'all go check out Gerald at DuPont. The comedy show, June 26th. I want Darko to unlock Gary. In some ways, Gary's been unlocked really nicely so far by the Raptors in certain ways. Like I just said, the two-way aspect of him on defense and his stealing now is very interesting. Now, in some ways, he may get that dial back a little bit because Darko's coaching style may not be the same as Nick's as far as being so aggressive on the ball. So in some ways, we may see a decline next season with Gary and his steals because Darko may play a more conservative defense that holds back. And that may be a big change for our Raptor guards with Fred and Gary, that they may not get the steals numbers that they would have under Nick because of a change in the overly aggressive style of the defense that Nick wanted. That is something that may happen, but it may be that things are much better for our team in certain ways. So I am going to temper my expectations for him on steals just because it may be not advised for him to gamble so much like he did with Nick. When the way Nick wanted him to gamble all the time. So we'll have to see. In some ways, there were kind of nods from Dan Tolzman yesterday that we've learned a lot from the last couple of years, and we don't want to mess with it, and we do want to keep the things that were working from the last couple of years. So it could very well be that some of the defense is very similar to Nick's defense over the last couple of years. live near fire stations. There's another siren going by. M. Jones is here. What's good, Raptor Freaks? Just passing through to say hey as I lurking. M. Jones, good morning to you. Hope you're doing great on this Wednesday. Yeah, Isaac Campbell's here. And Isaac Campbell is saying courage, love, and all the things that bring us together to you all. Sowing division is only good for the carrots in Tom Duke's garden. I love it, Isaac. That's cool. Yeah, listen, I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff. I'm giving up on Twitter. I just am. It used to be that Raptors Twitter used to be like funny. Like around the championship, it used to be fun to go and kind of look and see the snarkiness and the kind of funny memes and the pictures. But at this point, it really has turned into a cesspool of like misinformation, jaded cynicism, negative, stupid takes, just really a waste of time. And even all the personalities that I used to think were funny, the kind of fan accounts that kind of make funny jokes have all really kind of disappointed me at this point. In fact, I'm very much not going to read people's opinions or comments, general people's opinions or comments on Twitter ever again. I'm sick of it. I read this stuff and I just get to see how stupid people are. Like there's some people that are talking about replacing Messiah and Bobby right now, and they have no idea what they're talking about. And like, why even put that out there? Y'all need to shut the fuck up and start appreciating what we have. We have one of the best front offices in the league. And everybody who talks about Messiah and Bobby in some sort of way because of the confusion you have about what they're doing, I wish y'all would just fucking listen to them and hear that they trust this team. They like this core. They like this roster. And just because you don't have any confidence in it, well, you're not qualified to analyze whether you have confidence in this team or not. I'm sorry, Mr. Joe Schmo that's on Twitter that just tweets stupid shit all day. You are not qualified to analyze an NBA roster like the Raptors and say whether they're good or not to keep together. And Bobby and Messiah are qualified to do that. So I want to take a doctor's opinion over a medical thing, or I'm going to take a professional opinion on any kind of thing over some amateur bullshit. I make memes on Twitter, motherfucker. So this is the thing. At this point, y'all are more damaging than good. You're not funny anymore. You're ugly, jaded, hateful people that really don't have. You're miserable fucks. Really. Like I get on there and I look at what you're on there on Twitter, even the ladies that think you're so cute and funny. Oh, I love the Raptors. I love tweeting about them. I'm making jokes and stuff. You fucking all sound so cynical and down and stupid because you are not fucking paying attention and you do not understand that this team is good. This core is good. That, if it wasn't, they would blow it up. And just because y'all think it's not good and you think that they're not blowing it up, you want them to be fired. Y'all are fucking idiots. Either you're idiots and stupid, or you're working for other teams to destroy our team and acting like you're Raptors fans. It can't be anything else. Seriously, either you're really dumb and you are a Raptors fan, or you are working for another team and kind of on the inside of our fan nation trying to blow it up from the inside. And I'm sure there's tons of people doing that, honestly. Seriously, there's no reason why you can't. Anonymity is so crazy on Twitter right now, and you can masquerade it all as all kinds of different things on there, which you're not. So yeah, there you go. And that's what I'm saying. Don't even use Twitter at this point. It's got no use. In fact, I don't need it really to get the news anymore. I'm going to get it from either you guys on Facebook, or we will get it from other sources in other places. It's almost like Twitter, you're going to go extinct, because there's not going to be any value in you, because there's no value in misinformation, lies, just stupid shit, negative, jaded bullshit, racism, all kinds of hateful, stupid shit on Twitter at this point. In fact, Elon's messing around with the algorithm so that it'll show more right-wing bullshit to people like me who have no interest in seeing right-wing propaganda. You want to shove right-wing propaganda down people's throats on your platform, Elon? Well, we're all going to take off. Even more so. And you want to destroy it, run to the ground. Well, good job. You're very successful at that. You lost a lot of money in your whole Twitter thing. But at this point, yeah, fuck that place. Randolph is saying, good to see Randolph Phillips. Of course, he is saying blessings to everybody. Hang on, it jumped. I got to get back. Good morning, beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Our front office is proving that they are on top of things with all these major decisions. That's right. That's right. We've been in contact with Gary and we kind of feeling him out. And, this made sense. Him taking so long made sense that he was going to opt in. The signs were all there. They did a father-son post on the Raptors official account between Gary Trent and Gary Trent Sr. on Sunday. They did that like 2 days ago. They wouldn't put him on such blast on the major accounts. In fact, that may have been a very concerted effort this summer to help Raptor fans feel better about Gary's situation. Well, he's in charge of the drops competition. He's all over the place on their social media all of a sudden this summer, and he has not been that much in the past couple of years. They don't ever use him. They're more likely to use Pascal or Fred or OG or somebody like that. But they used Gary this year. And that was a sign that, they had already decided with Gary a long time ago that he's going to opt in, that he's going to stick with us. And there probably is another thing they've already planned ahead already on the extension and how much he's going to get paid more when he gets the extension. It may not happen this year. It may happen during this year. It may happen next summer. But they're probably all in cahoots, and they're very much on the same page about what to expect, both the front office and the players. So that's the thing. Realize this: teams can get together and huddle up, not just on the court about plays on the court, but huddle up as a front office and the team franchise and say, guys, we want to keep y'all together. Will y'all work together as a team, and we'll make this work with the budget, and we'll make sure you guys all get paid fairly. Would you like to stay together? Yeah. Okay, we're going to make it happen. And that's the thing. The fans may not be able to see how they can make it happen. They may think, what's worth it? Well, once again, y'all don't understand how development happens, how teams make leaps and bounds and get better. And y'all need to understand and trust that certain players on our team are going to make some big leaps and they're going to be better. And we're going to make a leap as a team because of that. It doesn't have to be Scoot Henderson that shows up and saves everything. In fact, Scoot Henderson's worrying me this morning, honestly. Seriously, I go on NBA on ESPN, their front page, and Scoot Henderson's saying he will never settle. I want to go number one. It doesn't matter if you want to go number one. In fact, you sound stupid when you say shit like that. You think you're going to go fucking number one over a 7'5" Frenchman named Victor Wembanyama? You're crazy. You're never going to settle to be less than number one? Now you just sound stupid. Like your IQ ain't that high. How the fuck are you going to get picked over Victor? Seriously, Scoot. Seriously, bro. In some ways, I'm worried about your ego because you're so egotistical. You're just like, I will never settle. I want to go number one. Well, it's obvious you're not going to go number one. So you just look dumb when you say stupid shit like that. You can't see that Victor is going to get drafted by the Spurs. That's what it is. And you will not be number one. Well, you better settle for it because that's just what's going to fucking happen, Scoot Henderson. So it's really dumb. In some ways, listen, you're not going to be number one. So all you're doing is hurting yourself when you say dumb shit like that. So, you know what? I think he's really dumb, honestly. I'm losing more and more confidence in Scoot Henderson as we get closer to the draft. And that kind of article just makes him look stupid. In fact, we're hearing that Charlotte is very much more leaning towards Brandon Miller over Scoot Henderson at this point. That the number 2 pick will probably be Brandon Miller. So you're not even going to be fucking number 2, Scoot. Well, you will not settle for that. Oh, my gosh. You'd sound just so dumb. You think that San Antonio's going to pick you over Victor Wembanyama? What the fuck is wrong with you, Scoot Henderson? Seriously, you're a dumbass is what I'm finding out. Holy crap, he's stupid. Oh, my gosh. All right, let's keep going in these comments. Let's see. Fiercely saying, I have a feeling the outcome would have been different if Nick Nurse remained as our head coach. Darko will bring fresh and dynamic schemes. It'll be lit. Yes, Fiercely. I think this is true. I don't think Gary liked Nick. In some ways, Nick was not nice to Gary. He would not talk about him in very glowing ways most of the time. And we know he got put in the doghouse from Nick a couple times. Yeah, that may very well have factored into this decision for Gary, knowing that he's gone and Darko's the new coach. I will not disagree with this. I think you're probably right. Trevor's saying the NBA just wants to break us up, but they can't because they are jealous of us. They're just like when you have a beautiful lady that everybody wants, but they cannot have her. Trevor, you're exactly right. Exactly right. In some ways, they are jealous of us. In some ways, they were like, why do they have it so good in Toronto in certain ways? We're trying to mess them up. We're trying to sabotage them. We're trying to mess them up. Well, we're just really good at holding things down and being professional and running an organization correctly. And that's one of the great things. Dan Tolzman talked about it yesterday. He's like, we all know what's going on within the organization, but none of us talk. and nobody else knows. It's like on a need to know basis. Even some of the stuff that they're talking about between Bobby and Masai and Dan, maybe only between the three of them, and nobody else in the whole entire organization knows exactly what they're thinking or saying. I'm sure that there's maybe a draft board with the names of who they really, really, really like in the order of what they like them in. Nobody will see that except for Bobby and Masai and Dan, maybe Teresa, but that's it. Nobody else is going to see that shit. Maybe Darko will see it too. That's the thing. They're very proprietary and very secretive. And I'm glad that the franchise runs that way because it really saves a lot of headaches. There's all kinds of leaks all over the place in other teams and other places, and it causes trouble for those teams. Well, the Raptors understand what's good and healthy and unhealthy for a team. And they understand that operating this way is much more healthy than having loose lips that will sink ships. So I appreciate them being very tight-lipped and them being very stingy with trades also. That people are mad about that. It's hilarious. But yeah, they want our good stuff. Obviously, they do, Trevor. They want our hot lady. Yeah, Tom Duke is saying good morning indeed. Yes, it is a good morning. I was so happy yesterday. I was like, Adriana, Gary Trent Jr. has decided to stay a Raptor on your birthday. And she's like, yes, she's so happy. It's almost like I was giving her a birthday present by just telling her that Gary Trent's staying. You know, it's like these birthdays for Adriana and Monique have been very good this year. Monique got the new coach on her birthday, and Gary Trent staying in Toronto on Adriana's. You go, ladies. Have these great birthdays. I love it. All right. Nameless has cut off the chat already. Nah, dog, we're going to go till, wait a second. You cut it off at 9:30. That's bullshit, man. We got to go till 10:30, baby. Are you off on this, man? Don't listen to Nameless. Y'all can chat right up until we got another 20 minutes you can chat for. So, yeah. What are you doing, Nameless? Oh, my gosh. That's funny. Cowboys saying, everybody have a blessed day. Later, Lex and Raptor Freaks going to Pickering to do a paint job. We'll travel safe, Bradley. And ta-da, they can come and paint your house in Pickering, apparently. So if you're in the GTA and you need some odd job done around your house, you can call Bradley. Ta-da is on the internet. You can find them on the internet, call them, and they will come to your house and they will do an odd job like paint something for you. So call them and they will come and help you. Nameless, you're just playing. All right. What are you doing, man? All right. Mike is here. Good to see the Logical Raptors fanatic is in the house this morning. Salute the Real Ones Project. Truth always, Mike. Thank you. Made sense for GTJ to wait as his value hasn't risen in the last 2 years, where Fred became all-star and proved able to get a team to the playoffs as the voice. Let's fucking go. All right. Yeah. I think this is really true. Is like that Gary can do even more to up his value, and it may be not smart to sign the contract right now with what has happened. And like if he has a big year under Darko this year and he's consistent, yeah, it could be a lot more money for him. And honestly, it doesn't sound like he's real interested in being like dangled out there or on the market. Have so many people kind of like coming after him and like kind of maybe trying to say, hey, Gary, come to this place. He doesn't want all that noise. He maybe wants to keep things simple and easy and work just with the Raptors. And that's what it sounds like. He's opting in. He's going to work on an extension with them. And this is all good because it's going to keep him in house. And he does want to be a Raptor for long term. So that's fantastic stuff just all around. Gary's a great player for us to have, and I'm very happy about the decision yesterday for sure. Stargate saying a smart business move by Gary Trent Jr. Yeah, I think so. It really is the trend of the CBA and how this is going to change on July the 1st. And there's all kinds of different other stuff. I think that if his role is very, like I said, more consistent this year, that can really up his value. And who knows, maybe Darko has some more secondary skills that he can lock with Gary that all of a sudden makes him even more valuable. Who knows? That's what we're all about on Toronto. We're not afraid of developing our guys to get so good we can't afford all them. That's a good problem to have. And we want to make all of our players as good as possible because they get value. That's how we grow more and more value for our franchise. And if we can't keep them all at some point because we've grown so much value among them, that is an incredibly good problem to have. Trust me. Anybody who's worried about that kind of problem for a franchise, that is not a problem. Seriously, because you get to pick and choose which ones of the really, really great, valuable players that you've built up you want to keep. You get your choice. And, some of them you probably may not want to continue with because it's just the smart GM move at that time. So yeah, Stargate, good to see you this morning. 9:30 a.m. every day. Leslie saying, "Good morning, Raptor Freak family. If Fred isn't here, maybe Gary will take a shining role as point guard." Gary did play point guard in his lower levels of basketball, but he's not a good point guard for the NBA. In fact, he's so much better off the ball that in the hierarchy of who should be the next point guard, he's not in the top five as far as my list of who's still on the Raptors. If Fred, God forbid, leaves this summer, I really don't want him to, but if he does, it'd be like, Scotty probably will get the crack at it again first. Pascal obviously will be handling the ball. And then, we've got our three-headed backup point guard machine between Delano, Jeff, and Malachi to kind of suss out. And then I would think about using Gary at point guard. But, he'll definitely be the shooting guard for sure. He's definitely going to be that dude for us. Unless, well, I moved up the person on my draft board to Jordan Hawkins to number 1. I want them to pick Jordan Hawkins over Cason Wallace at this point. I think that Jordan Hawkins is the best choice for the Raptors at 13 if he is available at that point. I don't care who else is available. If Jordan Hawkins is available at 13, take him, Bobby. That is my official pick for this draft. I've thought about it more and looked at more tape, and I really, really like Jordan Hawkins. And I know he's kind of the same as Gary in some ways, like they're the same position and same kind of skills, but I would like to have two of these guys on our team. It's just good insurance, just in case. And we can have an understudy under Gary, Jordan Hawkins, coming off the bench, another three-point shooter. That will help us immensely. And in some ways, I don't necessarily want to get a point guard in the draft. In some ways, I want a straight-up shooting guard because I do want Scotty to get what he wants, to be able to develop more into being a point forward or point guard. And if we get Cason Wallace or some of these other guys, they may kind of take some of that duty away from Scott. So keeping Scotty happy is very important to me. And taking a straight up shooting guard like Jordan Hawkins may be better than getting a combo guard like Cason Wallace. I thought about it more really deeply last night. And that's where I came to my conclusion. I really, really do value the intensely good three-point shooting of Jordan Hawkins. And Raptors, please take him if he's available at 13. Now, officially, my top 4 for the draft right now is Jordan Hawkins, Cason Wallace, Keontae George, and Maxwell Lewis. Those are my top 4 picks for the Raptors. That's who I'd like to see. Now, they said yesterday they're not necessarily going to just take a guard. Dan Tolzman said they're going to take the most talented person at 13, and they have an idea of who they rank and what they value in talents. That's the thing. The Raptors list could be very different than the other 29 teams in the NBA. Their eye for talent and the way to look at people is different than other people, and they may see things that other people don't see, and that may affect how they stack, who they rank, in what order. And it could very well be that there's a guy nobody's looking at that we really, really value, and we take really high at 13, even though all the mock drafts say that he's going to be in the 20s. Somebody like Maxwell Lewis. And, I just watched an interview with Maxwell Lewis, and he's just like Boucher and Siakam. He started playing late. He didn't start playing until he was 14. And he's only 19 now, and he's got some really good skills already. So in some ways, he's kind of got that late kick like Siakam and Boucher to him that he could develop really quickly fast because he's a late starter to the game. So I'm very curious about that with him, along with his 7-foot wingspan. So, Maxwell Lewis is looking better and better to me every day, Masai and Bobby. So strongly consider him, if you like him too, to do a reach and take him at 13, because I think he's going to be a really good player in the years to come. The late start, the long arms, the pump fakes. There's a lot to like about him. Seriously, a lot to like about him. Cowboys got the piece. And G saying, G money. Hopefully Darko can develop his passing too. He's so young, and Darko must be loving this. Yeah, listen, Darko's been smiling like crazy since he's been announced as the Toronto Raptors head coach. I bet you sometimes he wakes up in the morning with Gaga and he says, Gaga, will you pinch me? Am I the Raptors head coach? Yes, I will pinch you, honey. Ow, it hurt. I must be the Raptors head coach. Because seriously, he may be feeling like that. Pinch me. Is this real? Because honestly, this is badass. He's such a good fit. He's an international genius of basketball. And I'm just really excited to see the look of the Raptors under Darko Rajakovic. that in some ways it's going to be so refreshing and interesting. As somebody who really loves watching basketball, you all know all the ways that I watch it. It's going to be very fun to see the differences in coaching style with Darko over Nick. And I'm excited to discern and understand the differences and talk about them in detail with you guys this upcoming season. You know, this is something we're going to talk about. What Darko does that Nick didn't do, and what Nick used to do that Darko is not doing at this point. There will be a lot of that kind of talk, the differences between the two, and I will be detecting. Y'all be seeing it too, and we'll be detecting the great differences of coaching styles between Darko and our past coach Nick Nurse. So it's gonna be very interesting. Name is saying this is why Gary Trent Jr. has always been my favorite Raptor. Now y'all know a niche selection, a niche selection. You know, Gary's a legacy player. He's the first ever Toronto Raptor to play for the Raptors, and his dad played for the Raptors. That is important. Seriously, in some ways, that's a really important thing. And I love that he honors that legacy and that he honors our city and that he really is all about Toronto. You go, Gary Trent Jr. This is the way you win fans, by doing something like you did yesterday. You see people on Twitter, idiots, once again, going after Fred. Fred posts his nephew, Amir Danforth, who's killing it in his basketball endeavors right now this summer. And Coach Fred, is his uncle, is kind of helping mentor him right now very closely. Well, I go in the comment section and people are saying, Gary just opted in, but you didn't. You turncoat. And they're going after him because he's opted out while Gary is opted in. I don't know. People are idiots on Twitter. Once again, Twitter is just stupid at this point. If you really love tweeting about the Raptors on Twitter, you're part of the problem. Most of y'all are not good for the Raptors. Y'all need to just shut the fuck up. If you're on Twitter and you tweet about the Raptors regularly and you're kind of cynical and kind of like down, just shut the fuck up. Nobody needs your negative ass noise. And just like take your keyboard away from your fingers. How about that? All right, let's keep going. All right, MSJ's here. Hey there, everyone. I didn't think Gary would return, but great news. Hopefully, he can become our shooting guard for years to come. Yeah, I like this. I mean, he's not a black hole on defense. He can very much be a very effective defensive player, and he's a well-rounded player. He fits in with us. It's like Nick said, if you don't play defense, you don't fit with us. Well, he's playing defense. He fits with us, and I love that. I love that so much. I'm glad that people were surprised by this. I wasn't. Seriously, in some ways, like 7 months ago, I was saying, don't be surprised if Gary just takes his money and stays on his contract with us. Well, I was right. I love being right. I love being right like 7 months ahead of time, even. Y'all know I said this like 7 months ago, the regulars who've been in here. Yeah, I was right. And all you cynical people that thought Gary was just greedy and he wanted to go out and test free agency and go play for the Lakers for more money, you were wrong. I was right. Yeah. Score one for the Raptor Freak cult. That's right. We were right, baby. Woo! All right, let's see. Mike's saying it's definitely even more possible with Gary Trent Jr. staying at 18 million and not going to 23, 25 million. So we got more bench money after keeping the core, and no luxury tax is even easier. Mike has looked at the numbers, and with this decision by Gary, he's causing some more flexibility for Bobby and Masai to maneuver to get some of the end of the bench guys in a different way. This is going to be real interesting, like July and August, where we see the maneuvering because of a move like this. And because of the way they time it, they could give Gary the extension after everything and probably be able to fit everybody in, everything fine. I love it, Mike. I'm really looking forward to seeing you. Well, first of all, are you going to look at the Dan Tolzman press conference and give him the treatment? Because in some ways it's mundane and kind of boring interview, but there were a lot of tells in there and a lot of interesting things that were said by him that you could illuminate, and maybe the casual regular fans maybe wouldn't see that you might see in what Dan Tolzman said yesterday. So Mike, I don't know if you want to do that interview, you give it your treatment, but it might be worth it. It might be worth it. Seriously. Let's see. G saying apparently they're working on an extension for Gary in July. That's when he can start doing it, but they may not be in a rush to do it. Honestly, in some ways, they don't want so much noise. There's so much going on. In fact, Dan talked about this. It's like, how have they dealt with things without having a coach for so long before the draft process? Was this a problem not having someone around for like almost 2 months in that coaching position and having coaches around? And Dan said no. because we didn't really need anything from the coaches. We just did it in our front office group. And anything that we needed coaching wise done as far as working out prospects, they said they saw about 20 prospects during the whole process of bringing in draft prospects. And they allowed the 905 coaches to run those prospect practices for the front office to look at. And so Eric Curry and Christian Siakam and those guys came in, and they were actually helping with things instead of our main roster coaches, because we didn't have any at that time. So basically, Dan said we didn't miss a beat just because we had an open coaching vacancy and nobody there in that point in the whole process. And he said he's very, very much tunnel visioned on just the draft. He's not involved in the Gary stuff. He's not involved in the stuff with Fred. He's very much been only focused on the draft himself personally. And that's part of the reason why he did the press conference yesterday. So, yeah, I love it. These guys are really on top of their stuff. And you wonder why we have so many people in the front office. Well, there's a lot of work to be done. And they're doing different things at different times. Bobby's involved with Clutch and Fred and talking to them. And Dan Tolzman's really focused on the draft really heavily, is what they're saying. G saying today's Bleacher Report has the Raptors picking Kobe Bufkin. You know, they're all saying different stuff. I've seen Bufkin go up higher, though, more recently. I've seen him as high picked as 8th. So, you know, it's going to be really interesting. It really is just like any draft. You got to see who gets picked and who's available and see who falls. And who knows? There could be some very interesting things that happen because people pick people early and we didn't realize it. And then somebody falls all of a sudden and we get somebody we didn't realize we might be able to get. You know, I maybe should have been looking at people like the Thompson twins more, or Jarace Walker, different people like that, because the possibility of somebody falling out of the top 10 to 13 and being available for us that we didn't think we could get is very, very high. Not highly, but it could happen. Seriously, it could happen. I felt like that kind of is what happened with Koloko last year, that Koloko kind of just fell to us in the second round. I really thought he should have been a late first round pick. But the fact that we got him at 33 was crazy. And that could happen in the top 10. There could be somebody that everybody keeps saying is a top 10 pick, but all of a sudden they're still around at 13 for some reason. And boom, Bobby and Masai are opportunists and they take them. So I don't know. I don't know how this could go. It's really going to be a very reactive draft for the Raptors, seeing how the top 10 go down with who gets picked and then seeing what's left over and around 13. It could be very interesting who's there. And it could be a tough decision because there could be a couple guys they actually like. So it'll be very telling to see who they get at 13. I have no idea how it's going to go. I hope it's one of my top 5 picks, but who knows? Who knows? They could come out of the blue. That's just the way they are. It could be like a Siakam all of a sudden. Pascal Siakam is like, who? Pascal Siakam? Who is that? Well, we got to trust him aside. Pascal Siakam turned out to be quite the name. Race Mode Daily saying, good morning, everyone. Run it back, baby. Yes, running it back. Just to the detriment of all the casuals who are like, why aren't we blowing it up and starting over? Because that's a failed way to build a team. You know, the process is not the way to do it. Tanking is not the way to do it. Trying to lose to get high draft picks. This is a loser mentality. Y'all are losers that talk about tanking and blowing up teams to get high draft picks to come save you. You're a loser. If that is your mentality and philosophy and strategy to get the Raptors better, you're a loser. That's just cut and dry how it is. You want us to tank to get a higher draft pick to get better? You're a loser. You want us to blow it up so that we can start over and get better? You're a loser. You're just a fucking loser. And everybody who's like that, who says that kind of stuff about the Raptors and Raptors Nation, you're losers when you have that mentality. We don't have a loser mentality here on the Raptors Freak Nation. We don't have a loser mentality in the Raptors organization with Masai and Bobby. That's why they don't do what y'all want them to do, because y'all are fucking losers and they're winners. And that's the difference right there. There you go, baby. That's right. Run it back, baby. Fiercely saying the media kept asking the same questions to Dan. It was so weak. Like, are you actually listening to him when he answers? Twisting the sentences do not change a thing. You're asking the same stuff. You know, I think that people just don't understand. They really misgauge how good we are. They really want to just buy this idea that we're mid, we're a poverty franchise, which is the stupidest term in the first place. We have championships and we're very much a rich franchise. You know, there's all kinds of slights. And so the perception is always downgraded for us. It's really like we're at a discount, the way everybody looks at us. Well, the fucking truth is we know ourselves, And we have enough self-confidence in ourselves that we understand we're a very good team, and we don't need everybody else to tell us we're a good team. And they can question us for why we're doing this or whatever. If you're a Raptor fan questioning Masai and Bobby for why they're doing this, you're not really a fan, because you don't understand how good we actually are, and you don't believe in us. In fact, what is it being a fan? Being a fan is believing in your team and rooting for them and being positive about them. So I'm just saying, anybody who doesn't believe in their team right now, doesn't believe in the Raptors, doesn't believe in us running it back, doesn't believe in keeping our core, you're not a fan, because you don't actually support the team. You actually want to tear it down, and you don't think it's in a good place. You're fucking stupid, and you don't know what you're talking about. And the real fans are standing by Bobby and Masai and understanding running it back, keeping the core together is the right move, and we support it. The people that don't support that, you're idiots, and you're not fans of the Raptors. You just want to see destruction and fire and destroying things. We want to build. We want to create. That's what Masai very clearly stated. We're building towards something. We're not destroying towards something. So get with the program, idiots in Raptors Nation that don't understand this. Seriously, get with the program. Trust Masai and Bobby, and we're winners, baby. We're getting the car. We're fucking going to win. We're going to the playoffs again this year, motherfuckers. Yeah, you don't have to believe it. You'll believe it when you see it, and it'll happen. Trust me. Yeah, there we go. Josh Monroe saying, I wonder if Bufkin is picked. If Bufkin is picked, will Gary be a good mentor for him, as they have similar play styles? I'm sure that would be true. Definitely. Like if they have a similar kind of body style, a similar kind of like mannerisms, maybe some of the same moves, for sure. Maybe there's some things that he can teach him. I'm not big on Kobe Bufkin, though. I really don't kind of want them to draft him. He's not very much somebody that I'm after. And some people did rise their stock with me, like Jet Howard. I've come around a little bit more on Jet Howard right now, but not enough that I really want us to get him. But Bufkin is not somebody who's impressing me like everybody else. I still think he's too slight to build, and I don't know how much his game is actually going to translate. Because one of the things Bufkin does is he goes in the lane and he does a lot of twisty, turny things, and he tries to get around people. Well, he can do that at the college level. But when he gets in there in the lane with the stronger, faster people, he won't be successful at finishing down there. It's going to be harder for him. He has a really good finishing rate right now in college, but that may not translate. That part of that game is so tough, and especially when you're so wiry and skinny, and the teams can be so much bigger and faster in the NBA level. Some of that offense that he does around the basket is not going to translate. He's going to struggle, and in fact, he may be more likely to get hurt. I don't like guys that go into the basket and go into traffic and get like a lot of contact, especially when they're not very big dudes with a lot of meat on their bones. And that's what I'm saying. That's my big red flag for Bufkin. Is a lot of his offense is predicated on getting in the lane and getting in the mixing it up. And I don't like that with his body frame. Let's just put it that way. Let's see. MSJ saying, so I really hope we draft a point guard. Has to happen. I also got the sense from Tolzman that they might try and move up in the draft, or did I read into that too much? Well, that part, MSJ, he was saying that every day, the day of the draft, just like the trade deadline, the offers get a little more intense near a deadline, because like people are like, oh, we've got to do something before this. So he's saying he has his phone on and he'll be taking offers from other teams, but he's really comfortable where they're at, is what he said overall. But like he said, if something knocks their socks off and they just like too good to pass up, they'll take it. But I don't think they're actually trying to move up. It's not that they want to, they're opportunists. And if the opportunity arises, they'll take it. But it's got to be really, really good, because they don't have the intention to actually do it. So that's really what he was saying, is like his phone's going to be on. And if somebody has something really, really good, maybe he'll jump on it. But otherwise, he's not planning to. I think that's where he's at, actually. G saying, I have been thinking, don't even think it was clutch with Nick Nurse. He went from a vet chip team to a young developing team within a short time. And I don't think he wanted to deal with that much development. I think that like we've talked about, we've really analyzed Nick Nurse and what's happened with his coaching on the team in the last couple of years, to the point where I think that, like, seriously, he just got stale. In a lot of ways, it's not only that he got stale with our team and what they expected from him. Oh, Nick being Nick again. I'm in the doghouse again. Or, man, we're never going to get minutes, because he just overplays the starters all the time. There's also the other side of things where the other teams were starting to really know his tendencies and they really understand his playbook. They understand like his substitutions. They understand like what he's going to do, like with his defensive switching. None of it's fresh or new anymore. He's figured out. He's really is. There's a good scouting report on Nick Nurse's coaching style. And in some ways, that is part of what's been hindering us the last 2 years. He may have been innovative and trying new things when he first started and caught people off guard, but they figured him out in the last 2 years, and that has made really his sharp sword of being a coach dulled. And I think that's a big part of it right there. Is that you may be right. Clutch factor. Maybe they were in his head saying some things. Maybe not. Maybe he just messed things up on the team. And maybe it was his ego because he got more into being a celebrity than being a coach. There's probably a lot of different things that contribute a little bit to it. But I really do. I think one of the main things is he's been figured out. He got figured out by other coaches and other teams in the NBA, and he's just too easy to read at this point. He may be different this year because he has a different cast of players to mold on Philadelphia. But I, in some ways, have no faith in him being successful with that squad and his philosophies. That it's not a match. It doesn't fit. They really ask a lot of his team in exertion of energy, and I don't know the Sixers are up for that task. Seriously, I really do not. And there's going to be some conflict there over that. And so, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The whole thing about Nick Nurse coaching youngsters and development versus vets is true. And it's not that he doesn't want to develop all these guys. It's just that he really is so about playing his absolute best players, nobody's going to get developed. It just doesn't happen. If he's going to play just the same five guys all the time to have the best chance to win, I think there's other ways to win also, Nick. It's just that you were saying that just as a cop-out excuse for why you wouldn't play your bench. You absolutely wanted the best chance to win. Well, there's other ways you could have done that. And we're going to have to see how that is handled under Darko. So, all right, Trevor's saying those fake ass fans acting like they're the front office, like the money is coming out of their pocket. I'm going to say to all them, mind your own business. I know, seriously. So what if we pay Fred a certain amount of money? Like if he's opted out and we do sign him back and it's going to be a number and some people's heads are going to explode. Are you paying part of that money yourself? Or did they come to your house and say, hey, we need some money to pay Fred. Please, can you help us? No, they're not going to ask y'all to give the money to pay Fred. So what the fuck is your problem with him making so much goddamn money? Seriously, don't be a hater. Let the man make his money if it's not coming out of your pocketbook and the MLSE is ready to pay him. So yeah, Trevor's exactly right. These front office Twitter heads, you're idiots. Seriously, I'm sick of you. I'm cutting y'all out. All of y'all, even the ones that I thought y'all are actually fans. Y'all are so stupid at this point. Twitter has no redeeming qualities, Raptors Twitter anymore. You're dead, Raptors Twitter. You're dead. Unless you're Pascal propaganda or Fred propaganda, you're all dead to me. Because those are the only two fan accounts for the Raptors that actually make any sense or say the right things anymore. Pascal propaganda and Fred propaganda. The rest of y'all are jerks and idiots and negative ninnies. And I ain't got no time reading your stupid ass views and observations anymore at this point. Because y'all sound stupid and you don't understand this team at this point. We are running it back, baby. Get in the car. No questions. Just get in the fucking car. We're going to win with Darko, baby. Let's go. Mike is saying the Dan interview was extremely interesting in what he says on the process. I saw the head coach playing a small role, right? But context of 905 coaches doing the workouts and drafting, not for a current fit. Yeah, Mike talking about a couple of points from Dan's interview yesterday that were very interesting for sure. All right, Mike, if you can give it the treatment, give it the treatment. Educate the Raptors fans in your own style of way, Logical Raptors fanatic. I'll be looking for that drop. Oh, Monique is here. Super fan Monique Lawrence is here. Good morning, everyone. We love you so much, Gary Trent. That's right. Love to Gary Trent. Picking Toronto today. Yes, we love you, Gary. Thank God you're still here. MSJ is saying Nick Nurse didn't have a plan for development and took a hard line with younger players. I think Lowry coached the chip, and the basis of the team's play was Casey's. Nick Nurse got lucky. Sixers will eat him alive. I love everything MSJ is saying here. I won't dispute anything he's saying here right there. None of it. It's all within realm of how I feel too. G saying, I am sure Nurse's energy on not wanting to develop like that hurt the team. And MSJ, that's probably true. No plan. It did hurt, and that's part of why he got fired. That's part of why Masai said, "Yeah, I want to develop these young guys like Delano and Koloko. What's going on, Nick? Come on." Didn't do that. He failed, and then he failed at winning too. So it's like if you were really trying to win so bad, why did you fucking shave games and not try and win certain games? And why did you lose that play-in game like that, Nick? If you were so building up to try and win, that's a failure because you failed at developing, and then because you sacrifice the development to win, well, you didn't even fucking win, so you're fired. That's just how it goes. Monique's saying the commercial ads came at the right time. Just saying, Gary, laugh out loud. Well, in some ways, that's a signal. Also, I read into it really deeply, and maybe if there was a rift or a problem with Gary and Nick, and Nick's gone now, the Raptors were like saying, "We're going to put Gary all over our social media now after Nick's gone, and show him that we're choosing him over Nick Nurse." And that could have been part of the reason why Gary all of a sudden was on the Raptors official account so much this summer. Is like, look, yeah, this is who we chose for the future. You were always kind of like, I don't like Gary Trent. I don't want him around here. You're kind of about him. Well, and we didn't mention him in a lot of press conferences. Masai didn't, because we wanted to be kind of on the fence with Gary and be kind of like, well, is he going to be a real one and want him to stay? And he's going to stay. Nick doesn't really, he's not impressed with him because he doesn't play the hard enough defense all the time. Maybe he's not real keen on him. Well, Nick's gone. Now we're going to put him on blast on our social media and show that we're Gary. Yeah, Nick, you're gone, and we're doubling down on Gary. Bam, something like that. It could have been like that. Mike's saying, MSJ, we ran Nick's offense and system in 2018. Casey showed he couldn't, so the decision had to be made, and the defense had a new system from the increased defensive power. Casey's system never changed much. There's a lot of like gray area about the blending of Casey and Nick towards the championship. And there's definitely a lot of the architecture that Casey set up for the championship that Nick eventually earned. And, so it's really hard to kind of snuff it all out. But I think Mike's right that, Nick was always kind of an offensive minded coach for Casey underneath him. And that some of the stuff Casey was already doing was Nick's stuff already coming in. But it's a very interesting situation. And once again, Nick gets a lot of credit, and he should. But in some ways, he also was set up to land in a really nice spot in 2018-19 to get what happened for him. Wayne's saying Trent Jr. Hang on, it jumped. Let me get back to Wayne Strainer. Oh, I see some of the names I haven't seen in a bit in here. I like to see that. We are at our cutoff, by the way, guys. We got the 10:30. That's the cutoff. I want to do about 2 hours. 2 hours is probably about the right time for this today. Okay, why did I skip over where he is? He's down here. Okay, Trent Jr. opting in is a good move. Let's access him under a different strategy and make our decisions. Lex, I refuse to engage in Twitter conversation. Waste of time. Move on. Just ignore. I was even on there yesterday, and they were doing one of those spaces that Kareem Thomas and Cool Cat have told me about, and I went into it. I went into the Twitter spaces. I'm listening to these people, and they're talking about why we should fire Masai and Bobby. And I'm like, what the fuck are you wasting your time doing this shit? Are y'all this stupid that you don't understand how important and essential they are to keeping our ship afloat and keeping in the right direction? I really think that Raptors fans are idiots in a lot of senses. You don't understand how important Masai and Bobby are, and y'all should stop fucking talking about why they need to be fired or why they should be replaced. People that made a space on Twitter just to talk about that yesterday, y'all need to shut the fuck up. Seriously, I'm sick of this. Y'all have already in some ways chased Nick Nurse out of our city. Why are you trying to chase all our good people out? Is it because you're actually fans of the Knicks? Is it because you're actually fans of the Sixers? Is it because you hate yourself and you just want to have a shitty life? Just stop. Stop, y'all. Start having more positive mindsets and just go with the flow with what we're doing, yo. Because your negative ass life is miserable and you're torturing yourselves. So just try and see the light while we have the Darko as our coach and we're moving towards better things. It's just a waste of time. I don't understand that. It was like I went on that Twitter spaces and I'm listening to these people and I'm like, first of all, I have no confidence in what they're saying because they sound like they don't know what they're talking about. And then they're just kind of talking out their ass about how they want to fire Masai right now because he wants to run it back. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Seriously. What the fuck is wrong with Raptors Nation that you do not trust in Masai? What are you breaking? The most important rule as being a Raptors fan is trusting Masai, you dumb bitches. You need to fucking start listening and trusting him. Seriously, you idiots. Oh my gosh, they make me so mad. Seriously. And Wayne, you're right to not even go there. Seriously, you are right not to even go there. I'm about to get to that point myself. MSJ saying, a logical Raptors fanatic, you're right about the improved offense. All I was saying was that Nick saw what Casey had done and tweaked it. Nick didn't develop it himself, but whatever, he's gone. Darko's here. That's right. I love that switch. Seriously, it's going to be a big difference. We're going to have better vibes around our team. Seriously, if we had Darko as our coach last year, there wouldn't have been any of this head holding. There wouldn't have been all this confusion. There wouldn't have been this weird, like depressive, like cloud all around the team for most of the year. Darko wouldn't have had that. He would have cleared that shit up real quick. He would have talked it out with his guys. He would have got their confidence back. He would have gotten them to say, listen, I love you guys. I care about you. And I don't like how things are going with this team. We're going to make this change before it happens. In fact, that may be the biggest thing that we'll see this year is a change in the attitude and the feelings around our team. We'll be looking more like the Grizz, loose and fun and dancing in the hallway and more of this Pascal Siakam shooting around. All this stuff is going to be happening in a more chill, loose, kind of fun way. This is part of Darko's personal philosophy. He wants these guys to feel like superheroes. He wants them to feel like they're powerful and they can take on the world. Well, he wants them to have swag. He wants them to feel like they are loose and badasses. Well, he's going to foster that kind of environment. And it won't be any of this like I'm a stern disciplinarian, and if you don't do things right, you're going to lose time with me. No, it's going to be more open and trusting and communicative about, listen, Gary, I like you playing at this. I want you to be the sixth man this year, Gary. I want you to come off the bench. You're going to be our first person off the bench. You're going to make a lot of threes. You're going to play good defense for us. You're going to get 20 to 30 minutes a game. This is what you can expect from me, Darko. I'm going to set you up right now with what you can expect from me. And it's like, okay, Coach Darko, thank you. And I appreciate that you don't jerk me around like Portland and Nick Nurse did. There you go. It's just being communicative, having a caring heart, and feeling like these are my players. They're human beings. I love them. And that'll cause all kinds of negative weirdness around the team last year will go away because Darko just doesn't have the personality that will stand for that kind of stuff. Unity is first with Darko, and that's a big reason why they hired him, because that's going to be a big difference. That's right. Giovanni's here. Good to see Raptor Freak Giovanni, original Raptor Freak from the first year, comes in and live every once in a while. We don't see him very often, but he comes in and comments all the time on off hours too. But good to see you, Giovanni. Raptors Freak, I see OG traded by Thursday, likely to the Pacers for the 7th, 28th, and possibly 29th pick, and Buddy Hield, they can flip to Dallas for a 10th pick. This is hilarious. Giovanni, you're the money guy. I remember you were always telling me about money and this about the money and stuff like that. All right. I think your observation is crazy, and I think that it's not very likely. You say it is likely. Well, how many days is there till Thursday? It's Wednesday. So that means this has got to happen in the next 24 hours, what you're talking about. It's not going to happen. Seriously. We know how much Masai values OG Anunoby. And no, it's not going to happen. Now, Pacers are a likely trade partner if we are going to trade OG, because that's where he would probably want to go. And they do have assets that are kind of nice to us. None of those picks I care about. Buddy Hield, maybe, but it would have to be Buddy Hield and maybe Miles Turner along with him for me to be wanting to part with OG Anunoby, me personally. And I'll bet you Masai is very similar to me. That he's not going to do that, man. You may think that he might do that, but he's not going to do that. OG's staying on our team, and he wants to be here. You know, why would Masai trade him now? After all these years of them talking about, oh, they're going to trade OG, they're going to trade OG. That's always been bullshit every year that it comes out. And you're going to say it's going to happen in the next 24 hours? All right, we'll see if you're right. But I'm not going to put much confidence in your prediction there, Giovanni. No disrespect. Monique is saying, thank you, Dan Tolzman. Hello, draft. Yeah, I thought it was very calculated and smart that Dan did the press conference yesterday. Very, very smart. Avoid the Fred comments. Avoid the Fred questions by just saying, I'm not involved in that. I'm only doing the draft. Very, very smart. Mike's saying, MSJ, you have a point of twerks to things after a basic system was established by Casey. I think Darko sounds like the best of both worlds. We saw the issues from the two extremes, no changes and too much. Well, that's one thing. Darko will change things. He very much has said that he has a philosophy of tinkering with things. If it doesn't work, he'll go back to the drawing board and try something different. So he's not so stubborn that his way is the highway. And the other thing is, he's very clear that he takes other people's ideas and not just ideas from the other coaches, ideas from the players, and ideas from the front office. He's very much a think tank kind of coach. And that's maybe why he comes and frequents our channel here sometimes and listens to what we have to say, is because he's all about sponging up ideas from everybody and making his own decisions from listening to the best ideas everybody has. So that's something that will be very different. In some ways, Nick, maybe, I don't know how many decisions he was making from his assistant coaches or other people like players on the team as far as changing what he was doing. But Darko is more likely to change what he's doing with the feedback of people around him. And that may be a very huge difference that we see next year with him. He's still going to be in charge. He's still going to be a very strong leader. It's just that he's the kind of leader that takes advice from everyone, and he will use it if he thinks it's worth using. So I like that about him. I really do. And he will be adaptable. And if there is controversy, if we do have problems, he's not the kind of coach that, well, this is just my only look and we're done. We're sewered at this point. No, he will change and he will try different things to get us to rise up. That's how he is. And that's why he can be a development coach along with a winning coach. And if we get to a high level in the playoffs, hopefully he won't be like Casey. He'll be very quick on his feet, just like Nick, and we'll be able to make changes and adjustments in the adjustment game of the playoffs late against great coaches like Spoelstra and Kerr. Those kind of things. So, yeah. All right. I love it, Mike. Leslie's saying, Lex, I limit my social media because most of it is so toxic. We have to really choose what makes sense for us as individuals. Likes shouldn't be our source of self-esteem. You're not about that. That's right. It's crazy. Some people are making clickbaity stuff just to get a lot of traffic because it makes them feel better because they got more views or they got more whatever. That's crazy. In some ways, like, look, I've been detrimental to my channel because of some of the things that I've said on here, and I'm not trying to cater to more likes and views and subscriptions. If I was, I'd be doing a better job of getting more people in here. But that's not my motivation. And I think it's a scary world that we all kind of live in this place. There's a Black Mirror episode where some people really, really care about getting likes all the time. That one with Ron Howard's daughter, Bryce Danning Howard. That's a very scary, weird episode of Black Mirror where they kind of have your social status is linked to a score. And if you don't have good reviews from people around you that interact with you, you actually lose access to certain areas of the world because you're not high enough. It's such a crazy episode. We don't ever want to go in that kind of direction. Black Mirror is a very much a warning kind of show to show kind of like ways that technology in the future coming up could be a pitfall and a problem for us, and a kind of dystopian horror show. So in some ways, we got to be aware of instant gratification of getting clicks, of likes, and all kinds of stuff. It shouldn't matter as much as we think it does. And some people that live off that for their self-esteem, that's really bad. And you're setting yourself up for a really, really torturous kind of existence if you have to have likes to be okay with yourself. Wow, Leslie, and that's a heavy subject. And definitely watch that Black Mirror episode. It's one of the early ones, the one with Ron Howard's daughter. Infamous is saying, salute freaks, him opt in. Doesn't it make it easier to trade him? Yeah, in some ways that is part of the aspect too, but he doesn't want to go anywhere. And I don't think we're going to stab him in the back like that. So I'm pretty sure he's staying, and we do kind of need him, honestly. If you think about it, Gary Trent Jr. may have been one of the most essential people we needed last season for our issues. He's the one person who has some of the qualities that we need more of on our team. So in some ways, he's absolutely essential. And thank God he loves the city and he wants to stick around. That's really good. Blackhawk saying big up, Lex. Thank you, Blackhawk. All the best to you, original Raptor freak. Monique is saying Amy Audibert now is Scarborough's Shooting Stars. Nice to see. Yeah, they hired Chuck Swirsky and Amy Audibert to do announcing for CEBL this summer. Good stuff. Love seeing all that kind of stuff for sure. Shere Khan saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. Toronto finances just got a natural boost with Gary Trent Jr. making a big boy move and willing to say, hey, I like it here and I want to extend. My man, Shere Khan is feeling the good vibes of Gary Trent Jr.'s decision yesterday, and I'm feeling it too. Good to see you, Shere Khan, as always. Logical Raptors fanatic saying, I think Gary Trent Jr. sees what the type of plan Darko has. He can develop more passing in a move the ball system, and if he gets open, he's going to get his shots. Makes sense to see how the season goes and rise the money. Yeah, you know, in some ways, Darko's system could really benefit Gary. And if he can be consistent this year with making his jump shot and he can get some really good, consistent stat lines, definitely he's going to be up for making more money from achieving those kind of goals and stuff. It could very well be that Darko's the kind of coach that some of our existing Raptors that are on our team thrive heavily in. I mean, like Desmond Bain kind of thriving. And that's what I'm really going to be interested to see is like who reacts to the difference between Darko and Nurse the most and really sees an uptick or a bump in their output in their game because of what Darko's doing with them developmentally or just in the scheme of what he's made up for us. I fully predict Scotty's going to make a huge leap with Darko Rajakovic, but there's going to be other Raptors that do also. Trust me, they will. Shirkan saying Orlando may be stepping away from Fred's big contract as well, so maybe better chances to resign. Yak is also okay with us trying to stay pat and not rebuild. Wins all around. Yeah, that I honestly really take what Jakob said this week as a message to the NBA that, like, look, you can read into what I'm saying right now is like, I don't want to come back to the Raptors. But really, what I'm telling you guys is we're not rebuilding and we consider ourselves a competitive team. That's the funny thing about it. Perception, you can read into it. Well, he's playing off the perception, the negative perception of downgrading the Raptors and saying, I don't want to be on a team that's rebuilding. Oh, the Raptors are rebuilding, so he doesn't want to be there. Well, that's kind of assuming. And when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. And that's what you're assuming. You're assuming that he's saying he doesn't want to be on the Raptors when he says that. Well, you assumed a little too far. In fact, NBA or Raptors insider Adam Lascarius or whatever motherfucker, he's been around the Raptors the last year or so, taking pictures of them, and he sometimes chirps up about things that he sees and stuff like that. He was the one who filmed like Scotty and Wancho doing the little like pointing at each other across the hall when the Raptors had that dance party at the beginning of the year. I forget what the event was exactly. But this dude is an idiot. First of all, he's not really listening because he's the one who's pushing this Jakob thing. Is like he's not going to come back because of this. In fact, he wrote an article saying, well, Jakob Poeltl's not coming back. It's official. Well, you read a little too far into it. You assumed, Adam, and that makes an ass out of you because you're not listening to him. He's saying he doesn't want to play for a rebuilding team. He doesn't consider the Raptors a rebuilding team. You may consider the Raptors a rebuilding team, but you shouldn't because you're a fucking Raptors insider and you're around the team and you should be listening to Masai and Bobby and understanding what they're saying. They're not trying to rebuild. And Jakob does not consider the Raptors a rebuilding team. So the green light for him to return and be on the Raptors this summer is wide open because of the way he looks at it. So you go ahead, Adam. Be a little Raptors insider. Just pay a little bit closer attention, maybe. How about that? Yeah. How about that? Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Sheer Khan saying, oh, wait, I read that one. G saying, I like Hawkins a lot. Good call on him. Yeah, I think he's just a safe bet. He's going to be a money 3 for sure in the NBA. And I think that he's got the kind of body type and structure that he can actually be a good defender right away also. You know, at his position, he doesn't have to deal with a lot of super strong guys, and he's got the right height. So I think that he'd be really, really good as a good, solid draft pick. Like I said, in some ways, we don't want to draft a point guard because that'll signal to Scotty that maybe we have somebody who might be trying to take some of his duties that we want him to take later on. And we do want to make Scott happy. So in some ways, Jordan Hawkins over Cason Wallace is actually a better thing for Scotty in the future with his dreams of being the point guard himself. So that's kind of why I like it more. Infamous is saying Dan said they are not picking a player based on the current roster because the roster could change, which leaves me to believe there are huge changes coming. Well, you could infer it that way. And it could be that that's true. But there may be that that's not totally true either. He's just saying that in the whole scheme of things, and this is probably every year, they have this philosophy is that they just want to draft the very best player that they can get at the position they're drafting. And that they're not worried about the current roster. They're not worried about who could be leaving or coming or going. They just want to draft the best possible player. And that's all he's really saying. And that has been the philosophy every year in the past years also. So it's not anything different this time. And it doesn't really indicate that there will be extra movement just because of that. It's just this is common how they operate We want to draft him, but we're not really taking full account. Now, in some ways, that's not totally true because I know that Bobby and Masai have like this master plan where they have all the different pieces of what they want for a championship team kind of in there. Like they put Pirtle in the middle for center, Scotty, Gary, Pascal, OG, and they have them all kind of in a thing, and they think about how they all fit with each other. Now, it could be true that they may be like, we don't mind having a duplicate of this kind of player in this position because we just need some backups and youngsters coming up underneath the guys that are already in those spots. So I don't know. I don't take this as an indication that there is going to be heavy movement because he said that. I think that's just the way they always operate. And that's how that's the way they look at draft picks. So great comment though, Infamous. And nice noticing of what Dan said there. Paul B saying Cason Wallace's defense looks too good to pass up. He and Scotty would pair well, I think. Glad Gary's back too, ready for another 6 games, 30-point streak. Yeah, let's see if we can get like a 10-game, 30-point streak. He could. He's capable of it. He's just got to stay hot for a good little period of time. You're right. Cason Wallace, for only being 6'2", 6'4", somewhere around there, his ups and the way he loves to play defense is insane. And in some ways, that is part of the reason why I really like him as one of the prospects. For sure, Paul B. I won't be upset if the Raptors take Cason Wallace. Seriously, I will not. Any of those 4 guys, including Bilal Coulibaly, I will be very happy. My 5 for the Raptors, Jordan Hawkins, Cason Wallace, Keontae George, Maxwell Lewis, and Bilal Coulibaly. Those are the 5 top picks the Raptor Freak recommends for the Raptors at 13 tomorrow. Yeah. All right. See, Monique saying, Lex, many fans think it's Jalen Hood-Schifino now. Laugh out loud on the Dan Tolzman video. Go read the comments. Yeah, I don't even want to read the comments there anymore because there's just so much uneducated, not trusting Masai, people that are just idiots at this point. And some of them are just, they're not even Raptors fans. Seriously, they're people that are coming in trying to make things not feel good. No, a Knicks guy wrote an article this week talking about how they're trying to tie us into the Bradley Beal bullshit. And it's fully just the thing that like a Knicks fan, all right, he wrote it. He said that the Miami Heat, they saw the Miami Heat were kind of wanting Bradley Beal. And now the Heat are trying to say all this bullshit like, oh, we didn't want to take Bradley Beal because of luxury tax anyway. That's bullshit. Listen, y'all would have taken Bradley Beal. Y'all are so weird with trying to not like optics and trying to not look like you got rejected. Y'all got fucking rejected. Just accept it, Miami Heat. Y'all got rejected. Seriously, Bradley had the option to go to any single team he wanted to. It didn't matter. You didn't get to choose that. If he wanted to go to Miami, y'all would have made it work. He chose to go to Phoenix. He wanted to go to Phoenix, and y'all can't accept that. So Miami's trying to make up all this bullshit about how he didn't want to come here really, or like, we didn't want him because we didn't want to pay him the luxury tax. You're making all this bullshit to try and make it seem like he didn't diss you, reject y'all. He rejected y'all. Just take it, Miami Heat Nation. Y'all got fucking rejected by Bradley Beal. That's just the damn truth of it. Y'all can try and spin it any other way afterwards. But he had the choice. He could have gone to any team. Y'all wanted him. He chose the Phoenix Suns. Y'all were rejected by Miami Heat. Y'all were rejected, Miami Heat. So just remember that. Well, New York fan is trying to make us sound like we got rejected by Bradley Beal also, Toronto. He tried to start a rumor saying that Toronto was interested in Bradley Beal and talking to them and that they had a package for them and stuff like that. Well, there may have been some interest from Bobby about possibly looking at what it would take to get Bradley Beal here, but there were no names mentioned. And this guy even wrote in the article, he's like, well, thankfully for Toronto, there were no names mentioned that could have been damaging to their team because those players would feel like they were involved in a trade for Bradley Beal. Like this happened with Miami. Kyle Lowry was in the trade deal to go to Washington for Bradley Beal. And that kind of did some damage in some ways. It was like they just got to the finals and Lowry's already in trade bait all over the place. Yeah, I can see how fans of other nations, other Atlantic Division teams are trying to fuck things up and cause problems for people. Can you understand how people do that online at this point? So really be aware of this. I'm not big on Jalen Hood-Schifino. He's in the same category as Kobe Bufkin as far as I'm concerned. He looks like he's slight of build, and it may not all translate to the bigger level. That's how I kind of look at it there. Let's see. G saying Schifino is a passer. He loves the no-look passes too. I wouldn't be mad about him either. There's some gems in the 13th spot. See, I don't want another no-look passer on our team. Scotty already does enough of that. I hate no-look passes, honestly. Unless you're Magic Johnson or Scotty Wayne Barnes on your way up, no-look passes are not good for young players. I'd much rather them look and see where they're passing it to. You don't need to be flashy on the NBA level. Don't come in and try and be flashy right away. Get the fundamentals down, do things correctly first, and then you can add flash later when you're feeling more comfortable and you've got an established game. I don't want some youngster coming in that's known for no-look passes. Fuck that shit. That's a turnover waiting to happen. So, yeah, I'm not interested in that. That's not something I value at all. Seriously. I get upset when Scotty does it. Seriously. I don't think it's fundamentally good because it's not necessary all the time. Sometimes it is, and it does really work as a misdirection. But sometimes no-look passes that are just done just to be flashy, that is not fundamentally good. It's not fundamentally good. Neither is Scotty turning around looking at the guy before he dunks. That is not fundamentally good either. I'm about fundamentals and smart basketball. And I don't want somebody who has a predilection to make no-look passes. We already got Scotty. We don't need another one right now. Elijah's here. Good to see Elijah Hutchins. I agree. I hope we don't draft a point. We got to start throwing guys in the fire and let them fail forward. Darko sounds like he feels like that too. Flynn, Delano, the floor is yours. I believe in you. Yeah, I want to see how he balances the bench and the starter minutes. I want to see how he creatively integrates people like Koloko and Delano into our lineup to get specific skills of theirs useful for things that we're doing on the court. And maybe I want to see also how he hides deficiencies that some of these players may have that aren't too good to have them out on the court. Like Nick wanted all around really good high level play. Well, if these guys had a deficiency, he didn't try and hide it. He just didn't play them. So that's what I'm saying. In some ways, that was a cop out when they said, oh, he didn't use the bench. They weren't good enough. Well, they weren't good enough to his standard. And that was part of the problem. You can coach guys that have deficiencies and you can hide them. You just got to be really smart about how you hide them. And I want to see how Darko's creative in these areas, Elijah. It's really good stuff. I'm looking forward to it too this year. Mike's saying, I'm doing the CBA first, but I want to talk about the new pick at some point, and we will use things to help add context. Respect always, Lex. Thank you, Mike. Respect to you also and your work on Logical Raptors Fanatic channel. Always good stuff, Mike. And yeah, whatever you got going, man, you don't have to listen to me. I just give suggestions. And, do what you're going to do, because it really is what you get enthusiastic with. Whatever sparks a fire in your mind of what you really want to do is the direction you should always go. It should be wow, I'm really excited about this or enthusiastic about it. Go in that direction for sure. Do it that way. Shirkan saying 35 people watching right now. Let's smash the like button for the algorithm. Thank you, Shirkan. I appreciate that. That is very nice of you. This is probably the most exciting draft since 2003. We're going to get something good this draft. We have assets for the future as well. We have a very good team already. Let's add a very good offensive score to the mix in this draft. I think that may be the most important thing, is that we need a baller. We need a bucket getter. We need somebody who can fill it up, preferably somebody who can shoot threes, and preferably somebody who is a bucket getter, a certified bucket getter. None of this learning curve, none of this can come in and help us score baskets immediately as a rookie. That is really kind of what I value the most in the 13th pick tomorrow, is somebody who can come in and get a bucket for us right away. Right away. First game they come in and they're like, this dude's already scoring. That's what I want to see. Then they have that confidence too. Infamous is saying, how can we criticize Clutch Sports for Nurse and praise Gary Trent when he decides to stay? They're both Clutch clients. We need to be consistent. This is a great question, Infamous. Well, I'm still trying to suss out what Clutch is doing and what their deal is. I feel like that in some ways there is speculation that Clutch may have been in Nick's head about how much money he could make if he got away from the Raptors, and that may have been part of the reasons why he was torn, and then all of a sudden now he's gone. Now, all right, let's start over with the whole scenario. Let's just say Nick is exactly what he seemed to be this whole entire season. He was a Raptors coach. He wanted to be our coach for long term, and he wanted to stay here. Forget that I even talked about Clutch being a factor in this. Let's just say that he went about his business, but at some point he just failed this season, and it had nothing to do with Clutch at all. We can take that out of there. Well, in some ways, if they're his representation group, they really advised him poorly at the end of the season, because he did some things that were really not good, that it didn't help him with staying in Toronto. And I think it was kind of calculated. Now, I don't know how much it was Clutch's influence or Nick just did it on his own. That's all speculation. Now, Clutch has been good with dealing with us with OG and Gary, and that's true. Like it's once again yesterday, we see that. We'll see if they're good with Fred. But the whole thing that happened with Nick, it seems like it was a kind of a weird messed up situation. And it would look really, really bad if he ends up coaching the Lakers instead of the Sixers, because then it will really look like Clutch had something to do with it. So I don't know. I'm gonna be very wary of Clutch. I will take the wins and losses with them. And yesterday we got a win from them, and I appreciate that. Now the one with Nick was a loss. That's definitely a loss because in some ways I don't know how much they had involved in Nick's departure. Hearing them talking to him in his ear and giving him bad information and causing what happened. But I can only speculate. Well, right now we like Clutch because Gary Trent has opted in. So it's like it's a case by case basis. And it really is like which one's hurting us or not. If it's not hurting the Raptors, I'm for Clutch. If it's hurting the Raptors, I'm not. So it's going to be a case by case basis with them, I think. Leslie's saying the reason why they want us to get rid of Masai and Bobby is because all these teams want them and Dr. Alex. Yeah. Like seriously, everybody who comes in and says fire Masai in the chat, they're probably a fan of another team that wishes he was the GM of their team. Realize that, Toronto Raptors. They may be Washington fans that are sick of their bullshit and they just hired a new GM. And they're like, man, I wish we'd just gotten Masai when we wanted to 10 years ago when Michael Grange said we were getting him. Well, no, it's not happening. And that's part of the thing. It's like they saw that, well, in some ways they were lucky and they got something happen with Nick Nurse and they got him locked out. And now he's on Philadelphia. Well, they want to try and do the same thing with Masai, and that's why they're doubling down even harder on this. So stay steadfast, true Raptors fans, and don't buy this bullshit because this is exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to get us to turn on Masai so they leave so they can have him. And if y'all really want Masai to leave because of that, you're fucking horrible Raptor fans. Seriously, that's not going to help us. It's going to really hurt our team if Masai leaves. So stop saying that kind of shit. Never, ever let it come out of your mouth. Just stop. If you're a real Raptor fan, you're protective of Masai staying with our team. Seriously. You're very, very protective of that. Mike's saying Black Mirror is really good. This is a good show. It's a cautionary show. It can be very much. I hate how sometimes art imitates life or life becomes art. So none of that shit that happens on Black Mirror ever needs to become reality. Let's just say that. Cool Cat saying, I just came back from a meeting. Okay, Cool Cat. I hope it went well. And you got your points across if you had points to get across. Nameless is saying, it might be worth to trade both OG and Siakam for Scoot Henderson. Pensair said that? Seriously? Nameless? That is ridiculous. Oh, man, this guy really doesn't know how to gauge talent. I'm serious. I just went off about how I think the man's dumb now about saying, oh, I won't settle for less than being number one. Well, you're pretty dumb if you think you're going to be number one. And yeah, he's saying that he would trade two of our starters for an unknown guy who wasn't even like the best player on his G League Ignite team. He wasn't. Seriously, Leonard Miller was the best player on that team last year. It wasn't Scoot Henderson. And honestly, when he played the 905 last year, Jeff Doughton outplayed him in that game. So we've already got a backup guard on our team that beat Scoot Henderson in a game last year. So you go ahead, Pensair, keep talking out of your ass, you idiot. Name was saying everybody have a good laugh at that. I'll wait. Yeah, I see butt faces is what I see. I see a butt face. I see a poop. And then I see like 6 butt faces from Nameless. That's pretty good. That's pretty good commentary about that. Butt face is about right. Mike's saying he's lost the plot completely in his own biases. Yeah, I don't even understand that view there. I mean, this dude just wants destruction for our team. Trust me. He's an agent of chaos hired by somebody else, and he's nothing to do with the Raptors organization. In fact, he's from New York. And they say he lives in Toronto now. Maybe he's a Knicks fan who moved to Toronto just to be an agent of confusion like this. Who knows? Who's paying you, Pensair? Is it whatchamacallit? Is it fucking the owner of the Knicks? Whatchamacallit? What I forget his name. He's the worst. It's probably him. Maybe he's paying Pensair to be a misinformation fountain in Raptors Nation. What's that fucker's name? A guy who Charles Oakley hates. The owner of the Knicks. I forget his name. I'm not even remembering him. He's such a jabroni. I don't want to remember his name. Hilarious. Let's see. Nameless is saying, this guy's not a Raptors fan. I'm now fully convinced. Yeah, he just wants confusion. That's what I'm saying. Everybody get the word out. Pensair is not a Raptors fan. He's working for probably the Knicks and their stupid owner, James Dolan. That's the name I'm trying to remember. He probably hired by James Dolan. He works for James Dolan, y'all. Nameless is saying, no Raptors fan, not on drugs, would say that. That's right. Even if you were on drugs, you may not say some of the stupid shit that you're hearing these guys saying. It's crazy. Man, I don't get it. People are so crazy with their dumb ass opinions. All right, G saying Scoot and Scotty occupy the same space and neither shoot threes well. Then you have Jakob with no spacing. How does this work? So who plays point guard? Yeah, and Name was saying 1,000% logical. Poor guy. I pity him at this point. Yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Just because their names sound cool, Scoot and Scotty, doesn't mean they actually work as players together. I never thought they actually worked together as players. Y'all just want a cute little nickname sounding thing? Fuck, go collect like Barbies or something if you're into fucking cute little nicknames like that. Seriously, go get your strawberry shortcake or your Care Bears collection if you really want a Scoot and Scotty combination. This is fucking, what are you, children? Fucking bullshit. All right, let's see. Yeah, what a miserable false existence. Exactly. Eric Jacobs here. Holy shit. Holy shit. Eric Jacob, one of the original Raptor freaks from the very beginning of this channel 2 years ago. Eric Jacob is in Zimbabwe, y'all. And he is one of our original Raptor freaks. Gary Malachi, if we play him and another three-point shooter in the middle, will open up for Siakam to shake and bake. He can beat anyone one-on-one. I love seeing Eric Jacob in here, y'all. Let's give a big welcome back to Eric. Seriously, I love seeing you here, brother. Listen, I'm all about this. Let's see if Malachi can be a reclamation under Darko Rajakovic. We get some more three-pointers out of him. Maybe we get some of that Seattle Pro-Am, Malachi Flynn, that Global Jam, that Toronto Pro-Am, Malachi Flynn dropping 80 points in the crazy summer games. You know, I want to see him unlock him. If you can get anything more out of Malachi, like you did Desmond Bane, Darko Rajakovic, you would be a huge success. And you will show something that Nick Nurse couldn't do before you. Yeah, I'm all about that. And welcome back, Eric. So happy to see you. All right, Nameless is saying this is the real chat cutoff. I love it. Basketball Rewinds here. Good to see Van Hoot. Good to see you, Kenyon. I called it the night before. Gary, man, you called that the night before. I called that shit 7 months ago. You go get the tape, baby. And when we talked about Fred and Gary and their contract situation this summer, I always said, don't be surprised if one of them opts in. I said that shit last November even. So yeah, that you made the prediction the night before. I made that shit 7 months ago. I'm telling you right now, Van Hoot. And the people here will tell you that I was saying that the whole time. Monique's saying Gary Trent Jr., he is only 24 and he has improved each year since coming here. He hasn't even peaked yet. That's right. That's right. One of the things that he can do even better is be more consistent. He starts being more consistent night in, night out. Then his value just increases because in some ways he's labeled as a streak shooter. He can really kind of go very cold and do nothing for us on certain nights. And then boom, it's feast or famine. All of a sudden it's everything on other nights. So if he can get a little bit more balance and consistency from night to night, that will make his contract value go up for sure. That's probably the biggest area where he can make the most improvement, honestly, is the consistency. Isaac saying 37 watching, 37 hit the like button, 37 smash the alerts. We the North. Thank you, benevolent Isaac Campbell, our leader in season 3 of Raptor Freak Trivia right now. Good to see. Basketball Rewind saying, when did YouTube add these reactions? By the way, Freak, they changed YouTube recently. You only need 500 subs to monetize with super chats, FYI. Clutch works on behalf of their clients. Remember that. Well, I'm starting to realize that. I mean, if Gary wants to be in Toronto and they're going to help him get that, then fantastic. I just don't like the nefariousness of LeBron's attachment to that company. And I don't like, when our coach was a client of theirs and he does some weird shit this season too. Forgive me for being a little speculative and kind of like wondering about what the fuck's going on with Clutch. But yeah, I do see this with Gary now. If they're working with Gary to give him what he wants, I like it. They do the same with Fred this summer. I like it too. And that means staying with Toronto because I know that's what Fred wants. Thanks for the news on the YouTube stuff. I've heard about this. I don't know exactly how to unlock this yet. Obviously, I'm over 500, so I'm going to be able to do this stuff. I just haven't unlocked it yet. Super chats will be fun. And yeah, the reactions are fun too. I like seeing you guys react. I can see whenever you guys do like that funny faces or laughing or the hearts or the 100%. I see that stuff when y'all do that. So yeah, thank you, Van Hoot. Best of luck to you and your channel. Also, get to 500 and get that there too. But yeah, I'm excited about the changes with YouTube. I'm also really like the changes with the Canadian like thing that they're saying. It will hurt a lot of people, but it won't hurt me because I'm a very Canadian content oriented channel that will fit within their parameters. So in some ways, I may actually get a boost in some ways with their algorithm because I'm more Canadian content. And that really is what the ruling is in Canada. Just like with the television and the radio, they want to have Canadian content to be a certain percentage of the content that's on those places. Well, if you're Canadian content, you're on YouTube and you're in Canada, you may get pushed a little heavier. And I am for damn sure a 100% Canadian content kind of channel covering the Raptors, the only Canadian team in the NBA from Toronto as a Canadian, talking about Canada stuff all the time. Yeah, YouTube, I'm very Canada here. So if you want to put me on blast in the algorithm for Canadian content further and push me, you go right ahead. I'll wear the Canadian flag. I'll put it all over the place because this is a very Canadian channel for sure. Yeah. Let's see. Fiercely saying that nameless. What the fuck? Pensera at his finest. Pure garbage. Yeah. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Scoot for both those guys. You're ridiculous. Now you're just grasping at straws. And now you just sound like you're fucking stupid. And you obviously don't like the Raptors. Name is saying 1000%. Just total rubbish, man. For sure. I'm with you, man. Let's see. Name was saying continues to just shred any ounce of credibility he may have left. Pensera is just entertainment, like a good movie, but don't ever for once believe it is nonfiction. See it for what it truly is. It's not a good movie. That's a fucked up movie. It's a shitty movie. No, don't even give him that. It's not entertainment either. Who gets entertained by bullshit like that? Seriously, who wants to get entertained by causing infighting between Scotty and Fred? Who wants to get entertained by a fucking loser mentality that's saying we should trade two of our best players for a prospect that I have no confidence in whatsoever myself? You know, that I don't see entertainment in that. I can entertain you. I'll fucking sing a song. I'll do an impression. I'll act crazy. I'll get a fucking beaver puppet and entertain you with the beaver puppet. See, this guy, Justin Beaver. Yeah, you're my son. Did you know that you're my son, even though you're a beaver? Yeah, you're my son. You're my son. Yeah, you can go, son. All right. Yeah, see, you can get entertainment any which way. Penzera don't got no beaver puppet. That's right. Denal saying, yeah, I heard that take at Nameless. I'm like, what? Trade both? That's just ridiculous. Seriously, take that man's credibility, throw it out the window, and wash it down the street. Seriously. Monica saying, tomorrow, only a day away. Anyone going to the draft party with Raptors Republic? That's right. Raptors Republic is doing a live draft party. I'm not sure where the venue is tomorrow during the draft. So you can pay some money and go and get in the door and see those Raptors Republic people on the draft day and watch the draft with them. I mean, it sounds kind of fun, I guess. Samson Folk will probably be down there and some of the other people. But if you don't want to have to pay a cover and you want to go to a cool Raptors related event, come to the Raptor Freak meet and greet on July the 15th, 3 p.m. Real Sports Bar and Grill next to the Scotiabank Arena. Monique, myself, and many other Raptor freaks from this channel will be at Real Sports at 3 p.m. on July the 15th. So come to that event, and you don't have to pay to get into that one. Now, we do kind of want you to buy stuff, like maybe eat and get a drink or something like that. But otherwise, you don't have to pay an entry fee, that's for sure, like you do for Raptors Republic tomorrow. I'm just saying, I got to promote my stuff too, Monique. Coquette saying, I go to Twitter and try to defend our players and Masai's reputation, counter the negative dialogue. I use an alternative service called spoutable.com. So that's the new Twitter coming out, Spoutable. That sounds way better. I'm really ready to migrate the hell off of Twitter. You know, Shams and Woj and Grange and Lewinberg, if those guys migrate to Spoutable, I will follow them. So please, can we just mass migrate away from the stupid little bluebird and go get to the alternative as it comes up? Seriously, credible, reliable news sources. Let's go to a new platform and I will follow you there and I will want to hear your stuff on Spoutable. I want to hear you spout on Spoutable and not twit on Twitter. Nameless is saying that is insanity denial. That would be such a detriment to our franchise and would set us back years. Anybody who's a proponent of that idea is not a real Raptors fan. Exactly. That just hurts our team. A lot of these ideas that people have, they don't help the team. And you'll hear it like, oh, you should trade OG right now. Well, why do you want us to trade OG so bad? We should just should. Well, what's wrong with him? What's he doing to our team that's wrong? You should just trade him. Okay, why though? Wait a second. Wait a second. You're not a fan of Indiana Pacers, are you? That's why you want us to trade OG, you motherfucker. Yeah. Oh, you want us to fire Masai? Why do you want us to fire Masai so much? He's done a really good job for us. You think he's not doing a good job? Why do you think that? Really? That's not really a good reason for why you think that. Why do you really want? Oh, it's because you're a Lakers fan. That's why you want us to fire Masai. There's a lot of that going on right now. Seriously, there's a lot of that going on right now. Oh my gosh. Name was saying he's a great actor, facading as a Raptors fan. You can just say it. You can just say, "Oh, I'm a Raptors fan, of course." Vince Carter. I love Vince Carter. Okay, yeah, you can masquerade as anything online at this point. It's very easy to be a catfish. It's very easy to be not what you are on the anonymity of online. More than ever. Seriously, I can't fake this fucking shit. You get me as I am. It's shit. I can't not be me. If I could be me a little bit different, I might be, but you get me pure, unfiltered, 100% Lex, Raptors freak, exactly what I'm saying on all things. Y'all know real because real recognizes real. And well, I'm telling you, there's something fishy about Pence here. There's not real about what he's doing. Seriously. Seriously. Shere Khan saying W stream. Love it, Lex. Let's keep it real, baby. That's right. Shere Khan knows what real is because real recognizes real. And I recognize the real in Shere Khan that recognizes the real in me. And that's what we're talking about right now. Mike is saying W stream. I love it. Monique is saying W stream Lex all around. Keep at it per usual. So many good times ahead. Let's go Raptors for life. That's right, Monique. We're going to have a good time in July, on July the 15th, at Raptor Freak get together at the Real Sports Bar and Grill. That's right. Denal saying it's just hilarious how all these teams try to steal our players first. And then when we don't want to get lowballed, we overvalue our guys. Laugh out loud. Not everyone is getting a Beal deal. Same with Masai. Yeah. Same with the Masai talk. You know, oh man, it really is, like we said, gaslighting. They tell us we're not that good, and then they love our stuff. Oh my gosh. New Thousands here. Good to see New Thousand. Listening from St. Kitts, even on vacation. Raptor Freak is mandatory listening. All right, St. New Thousand, thank you. That's St. Kitts. Cool. I was like, well, I don't know. What should I sing? Summer breeze makes me feel fine. Gonna on my mind. I forgot the lyrics, so I do a little. But yeah, I hope you're having a great time. Sunny and beautiful weather and nice clear beaches and just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful everything. New Thousand. All right, let me see what else I wanted to talk about today. Oh yeah, let's do the Instagram check. I totally forgot. Thad Young is getting put on blast for being a king and being really smart. With being a dad and a businessman as usual. And he's up at 6 a.m. this morning, y'all, running on the track. Thad Young is putting in that work in the off season. You know, he just turned 35. And Shanika put this crazy jokey toilet paper in their bathroom with the poop symbol and says, "Holy poop, you're 35." So Thad Young turning 35 on Father's Day, I believe was his birthday. He's actually kind of crazy. His birthday is Father's Day. Dylan Harper getting on blast by Ron Harper as usual. More and more of Dylan Harper on Ron Harper Jr.'s Instagram. And then he's also posting Kevin Durant. And he's got a quote from Kevin Durant saying, "Hate drives me too much. Love will kill you." So Ron Harper is in the Kevin Durant school of hate online, and he has engaged with people in ways on Twitter back and forth, talking to them when he's not really getting along with them. So maybe he does get along with the hate that KD likes to engage in on Twitter also. I love that Open Gym did a happy birthday to Coloco on their account. That's really, really cool stuff. I love seeing that. There was also Slim Duck saying happy birthday to Christian yesterday. And he's got, listen, this is really interesting. I know last year, in the years past, the Raptors have used the demon symbol, the devil symbol, the emoji for certain things. And they call it demon time. Well, I think that Slim Duck, in response to Gary opting in, he made a post with the demon symbol. And I think he's really geared up and happy that Gary's back. And that was what that was on Slim Duck's IG. And then also he's got pictures of him with Ibrahim and at the Montreal Grand Prix and him working out, off-season work. He's putting in that work. And then he's always got funny stuff, Slim Duck. They'll love it. He's got this guy who's saying his mood. and he's like really funny, making some funny noises. Siakam still putting on blast his 43 his PS 43 foundation with what they're doing with giving computers to kids and stuff like that. Really good stuff there. And yeah, Gary Trent Sr. always funny on his account. Not really giving any nods to his son's decision, but his son did definitely make a decision yesterday. Now, I was wondering where Precious is. It looked like Europe. Well, I know where Precious is now because he took a picture of the Eiffel Tower yesterday. He's in Paris. So Precious Achua is jumped across the pond to Paris, France, and he's doing touristy kind of pictures over there right now. And Scotty had a couple posts yesterday. He has a post with the guy listening that first time here in Fuck You Mean into Rodeo Drive. And then he's got a picture of him on the street wearing all white with a blue bag, and I can tell I think he's in Florida, looking at the sidewalk. He's definitely not in Toronto. So he's somewhere down south, and I'm going to guess he's somewhere in South Florida. Scotty looking fresh with his look on the street. He's out there in the sunshine. And then Koloko just collecting all of the birthday wishes from everybody. All kinds of people wishing him a happy birthday. The Raptors organization, his sister, his brother, the Raptors 905, Precious, Scotty, Justin Champagny, Clutch Sports, all kinds of Rich Paul himself, all wishing a happy birthday to Koloko on his birthday. I hope he had a really fantastic birthday, a really good birthday when his teammates opted in to stick around. And Joe Wieskamp has a basketball camp this summer, guys, basketball skills camp on July the 19th. It costs $50. And I believe that it is in, where is it? I can't tell. It's at some high school. I'm going to guess it's somewhere in Wisconsin, somewhere around there or something. Who knows where Wheezy's basketball skills camp is. So there's your Instagram check with the Raptors real quick. Really cool stuff there. Name was saying, who hired Masai? Tim, that was the real hero. Tim Lewicki. That's right. Your adoration is all misplaced. No, I love Masai also, but Tim Lewicki, we did do a Share the Love Club for Tim Lewicki last summer. So don't get it twisted, Nameless. We did give some credit to the man that hired Masai and started the Toronto FC and did all kinds of great things, like started the OVO Center. He did all that stuff. He got that all set up in this brief time being the head of MLSE, Tim Lewicki. So we do definitely give him credit. He got to Share the Love Club last season. For sure he did. Yeah. All right. Gary said himself to Lindsey Dunn on February the 10th of 2022, he said, I don't want to be nowhere else. I want to be in Toronto. And he made that come true yesterday. Dan Tolzman has a press conference about the draft yesterday. So Raptors Freaks, go check that out. He says all kinds of stuff about where the Raptors are thinking going into the draft. And I feel real good about it. I'm glad Dan was doing that. Scoot Henderson says he will never settle for less than going number one. Well, you're going to have to, you idiot, because you're not going to be picked number one by the San Antonio Spurs, no matter how much. I think you're a little thick, honestly, at this point. Just let it go, bro. You're not going to be number one. You will be number two at best, and it's looking more and more like you're going to be number three, actually. All right, WNBA fantasy stuff. Y'all get your teams ready for tonight. We got more games tonight. You want to get in there and get your team ready. Bradley, I'm playing you. You better set up your lineup or you're not going to beat me. That's right. All right, we're just coming up on 2 hours. Let me wrap it up. Tomorrow, Thursday Think Tank. Very important Thursday Think Tank. Draft Think Tank. It's Draft Day Think Tank. We're going to go really heavy on the draft tomorrow and talking about how we feel, what we want the Raptors to do on Thursday night at the draft with the 13th pick. Get your opinions in, and let's get the Think Tank rolling tomorrow on the draft and who you like. Who is your special player? Maybe we'll all pick one guy that we really want the Raptors to choose, and we'll see who is right at the next day. So maybe we'll do an official draft prediction where each one of us name a name, and we'll keep track of it, and we'll see who's right tomorrow after the draft is over. Does that sound like fun? So figure out who you really like the Raptors to draft tomorrow, and we'll all put our names out there, and we'll keep track of it, and we'll see who gets it right. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me today. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. I appreciate y'all here on the Raptors Freak channel. Y'all make this channel what it is because y'all are the Raptors Freaks, and I appreciate your undying positive love for this franchise, just like what I have in my heart. Never, ever go to the dark side like he who shall not be named. Don't be fake Raptors fan. Be a real one. Root for them with your full heart. And don't be half-assed about it. Don't be cynical. Don't be jaded. Don't be kind of like, they kind of suck, actually, and I hate them. Well, don't be that kind of fan. If you kind of don't like the Raptors and you kind of hate them because they hurt you or something like that, go fucking root for the Leafs, you motherfuckers. Just leave us alone because we're going to try and keep things positive in Raptors Nation and keep moving forward to create and build instead of destroying. This is the most important thing right now. If you're a Raptors fan, you're all about destroying right now. Are you really a fan? Seriously? Or are you under the spell of some idiot who's actually a fan of another team who has you following him like a sheep and you don't even fucking realize it? Be more a real fan. Come pure with your heart and trust in Messiah and Bobby and know that we have one of the best front offices in the NBA. And if you're talking ill about them right now, fuck you. I hate you for it because I want to keep Masai Ujiri as long as possible in the position he is for the Raptors right now. Yeah, there you go. Bam. Name was saying Amy is back. I got my woman back. She's on CBL for Scarborough. She's there. Let's see. Tom Duke saying, have a great day, Freakaroos. I love it. And Nameless really loves Amy. And Tom Duke saying, peace. And Denal saying, Raptors Freak salute. W stream, y'all. Thank you. Thank you, Denal. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Nameless. Thank you, Monique. Thank you, Cool Cat. Thank you, Fiercey. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everybody who came in here this morning. Bradley, everybody, everywhere. New Thousand, everybody. W's all around. All right, let's go Raptors.